Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good wherever you are. Welcome to this special episode of Midnight's Edge After Dark. I'm, of course, your Battery Supreme, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo, coming to you live via the internet. And with me, as always, Mr. Tom Connors.
Hello. Well, we normally do a daytime show on Friday, but this one's a special one, and this is why. Tell us who our guest is today.
Yes, the one, the only, the exalted master himself, the founder of Midnight's Edge, Mr. Andre. How you doing, Andre?
I'm excellent, thank you. Hi, everyone. Great to be here, and thanks for that warm welcome.
Hey, I always got to suck up to the boss whenever I can. So anyway,
Always good advice.
Yes. Right, you are, boss. Anyway, big news: the Avengers trailer dropped this morning. I wake up and see, apparently, and it dropped all over my face. It dropped.
I better go watch it. No, I've seen it.
Yeah, better. Okay. The Avengers trailer dropped. It's blowing up everywhere, and we are going to spend the next. I don't know how. Well,
we got a few topics, but that's one of the main ones.
We got a few topics, but we want
as long as it takes.
As long as it takes. Yes, I like your attitude. So anyway, Avengers. I've watched it. You've watched it. Hopefully, everybody out there in the audience is listening to watch it. Let's open it up. Andre, let's open it up to you first. Andre, give us your take on this Avengers trailer.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we can begin by how excited were we going in, because that may very well affect what we thought about the trailer, rather the teaser in this case. And just to recap, for those that may remember or maybe don't remember, I absolutely loved the Avengers Infinity War. It had some minor issues here and there, but by and large, I thought it was fantastic, and I loved the ending. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was so perfect that I almost want the entire Marvel universe to end there, because it was such a beautiful ending. As such, I've always been a little bit skeptical towards the next Avengers movie, because it's going to obviously undo the ending of Infinity War. Is it going to do it in a good way, or is it going to do it in a really, really bad way? I hope for the best, but I fear the worst. And the leaks that have been so far, we don't know which ones are real, which ones are planted, which are fake, which are legit. But those that sound legit, I really haven't liked. As such, I was pretty skeptical, actually. I really wasn't looking all that much forward to this teaser. And let me stress that this is just a teaser. It's just going to it's only meant to give us like a taste of the atmosphere of the field, get us excited for more. Did it do that for me? Honestly, no. This was a really boring, almost 2 minutes, whatever it was.
I was going to say, I think it's the world's longest teaser.
Yeah, it was
2 minutes 25 seconds. Yeah,
that's exactly. Normal trailer time, not teaser time. And
it was the wrong footage, I think, to get me excited. I don't know which footage they have available, but that was a major letdown, to be honest. All of the Avengers trailers so far have been really good. Some have even been better than the movie, as was the case with Age of Ultron. This trailer was really underwhelming, I thought. Didn't impress me in the slightest, didn't make me excited, and it had too many spoilers. Because now we know that Ant-Man, he makes it perfectly fine out of the quantum realm. A nice way to spoil that. And for what? Was that meant to play out laughs or something? Can we save those until the movie? Like, nice way to remove the tension and the one good thing about Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, yeah, fail from me. Rob?
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Actually, I kind of had the opposite reaction that you did. To me, it shows what I thought was appropriate for leaving. I don't know appropriate, but it showed me what I felt at the end of Infinity War. This is the low. This is the Avengers' lowest moment. This is their darkest hour. They're defeated. they've been beaten. And now they have to regroup and they have to try and put things right as best they can. And
They're
to
stuck
me,
with
it's
the
just
B team, like you said. Not to
Well,
interrupt
yeah.
you, Rob. Yeah, you said that was your prediction. Is they're stuck with the B team, and I think that's what showing Ant-Man was all about there at the end. But
yeah, exactly. Hawkeye, Black Widow, Ant-Man. This is again, they have to go and have to find. Okay, who's left? Who do we have to turn to? And it shows it just and Tony Stark is drifting out in space, and you get there's this sense of doom, impending doom. Things can't get any worse for our heroes. Yeah, Doctor Doom. If he shows up, that I'd lose my shit. Really, I really would. But it really did. And remember how I said a couple nights ago about what? Not to get too ahead of ourselves. There was another trailer, and I said it didn't give me that chill that I was expecting up the back of my spine. This did. I was just like, there it is. Oh, there it is. And I'm like, wow. And unlike a certain other Disney property, which shall remain nameless, this has me looking forward to the next movie. So, Tom, your take on this?
Well, did you kind of give your expectations going in and stuff, right?
My expectations, like I said, it showed me what I wanted to see. It showed me where our heroes are. And like I said, I expected them to be low, but I didn't expect them to be at this low point.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, of course, I loved Avengers Infinity War, but I also said I think we did a roundtable for it. Yeah. I said there's an asterisk next to my rating because it's all going to depend on what plays out in the next movie. And as Andre brought up, we've had some leaks or alleged leaks that we've reported on. And to this point, nothing in the trailer can really indicate or not indicate if those leaks are true.
I have to give them props for that, though.
Yeah.
Because it was excellent footage in the sense that it really doesn't tell us anything other than, it shows us the heroes at their lowest point. It shows us that Ant-Man is going to return. And other than that, nothing. We know absolutely nothing.
Right.
So,
and that was exactly what I was going to say.
Preserving the mystery.
So you basically just said what I was going to say. Really going into this. No, that's okay. I was just going to say, I mean, so my expectations going into this were, I was held back a little reserved, but this trailer gave us nothing aside from obviously, which we knew Ant-Man was going to get out of where he was in the end of the last film, which we'll get into that a little bit too. That kind of upset me in the release of the films, and we'll probably talk more about that when we get to Captain Marvel. But in this instance, I was just like, oh, okay. So it's a very elongated, very moody trailer. And then all of a sudden we get this drop of a joke at the end, which is kind of typical of Marvel trailers. But it is jarring here. Andre is right. And not just for the reason that they give away, that Ant-Man's A-okay, but just it was the wrong time for it. I can see where Rob would be excited, though, because like you said before, your expectation for the sequel was not so much in this time, but in previous conversations, we're like, oh yeah, they're going to see who's left, and they're going to have the B team, and they're the ones who are going to have to go after Thanos, and blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff. And so I can see where your angle's coming from. I can see where Andre's angle's coming from. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm just kind of like, all I got was a nugget that we could have got at the end of Avengers Infinity War, as far as that. This is all could have been in a bonus scene from what we've seen, and nothing. It told us nothing really.
Now, do you think that bonus scene with Ant-Man, do you think it's going to make it into the post-credit scene of Captain Marvel?
Maybe. That's the other thing I was going to say. A lot of what we just saw, I guarantee you, is like the first 10 minutes of the movie. Because Marvel has this pattern as well. Until they get to the final trailers and stuff like that, most of what they show us is generally from one little scene. And it's mixed up to make it look like more of the movie than it really is. You know what I mean? And it's usually like one big action set piece that's generally within the first 15 minutes of the movie. Look at the first Avengers trailer for the last movie. Most of that stuff was stuff from the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of the movie. Like all the Spider-Man, Iron Man stuff, most of it. Doctor Strange, all that stuff was from their first fight.
And actually, the post-credit scene from what was it, Thor: the Dark World? Actually, was that brief scene in in Avengers, wasn't it? When he was filling up the glass.
Yeah. Well, they do that sometimes. Sometimes the post-credit scenes will pop up in the next movie. Sometimes they won't. It's been various, and then they'll have one for fun. But just, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I want to see more, but we've got all these movies in between this that they've really put this strange sandwich between these two movies that was really dumb. And we'll get to that when we get to Captain Marvel more. So, Andre, what's the next topic of the trailer?
Well, of the trailer, what is good here is that we have such a difference of opinion between all of us. I didn't like it. Rob really liked it, and you're somewhere in between. So how do we think this trailer is going to fare? How is it trending so far? I think the response is going to be pretty mixed. That's my thought on the trailer and how it's going to be received before we move on to anything else. What do you think about that? How do you think people will respond to the trailer overall?
I think people are going to respond to it positively. I think it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you want to see more. Okay, is Tony going to survive? What's the when Steve Rogers says, and Scarlet Witch and Black Widow says to him, your plan going to work? It has to, because I don't know what's going to happen if it doesn't. I'm like, oh well, what's Steve's plan? Like, it leaves I don't want to say it's a mystery box, but it puts questions out there that you are going to want to see answered. I think that's the ultimate end of the trailer. How the public will respond to it, I think the Marvel brand is so large enough now that I don't want to say if they showed, Scarlett Johansson reading the phone book for 2 hours, people would see it. But I think there's a lot of people out there that are willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, as opposed to other cinematic brands that are currently out in the ether, as it were.
Oh, absolutely. Tom?
Well, I'm curious what the like-dislike ratio is on YouTube.
Let's have a quick look, because that's kind of what I'm wondering.
Yeah, so
I think the response is going to be somewhat mixed, but yeah, we'll see.
Let's take a look at that. Which one do you want to do that? I can do it real quick too, but
yeah. I still think the movie is going to be huge, and the movie could be great. Don't get me wrong. It's just that this trailer didn't have what I was looking for in it.
Let's see here.
Before we move on to the other big reveal of the trailer.
Right. Some other topics as well. Well, according to the Marvel UK one, it's getting very, very few dislikes and over 46K upvotes.
Oh, that's a start.
So it's looking like most people are enjoying it. Or they like it anyway, to hit the like button.
Unlike another
411 downvotes to over 40K upvotes. So
let me see Marvel. I got Marvel Entertainment bookmarked. Hang on. Oh wow, 22 million views so far in 7 hours. Sweet Mother McCree, 1.8 million likes and 16,000 dislikes.
Yeah, I had a few people tell me they had issues with it loading and stuff when it first came up.
Yeah.
So it's going to break.
Okay, so that gives you.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Mecha Random just brought up an excellent point. People are really hyped. They seem to be excited for it. Keep in mind, a lot of people are less critical than us. This is very true. And as I said to begin with, I thought that Infinity War was so good that it's going to be very hard to top that for me. So I'm kind of biased against the movie, really.
Spider-Man Geronimo says there's 16,000 DCU fans out there downvoting. I'm like, I don't think so. Nah. So anyway,
do you think they would be more if that was the case? Actually, because there's only 411 dislikes on the one. Oh, you're talking about the main page had 16K downloads.
Yeah, the official Marvel Entertainment page.
Oh wow, that's a lot actually. Oh, so does a little more mix there. Or?
1.6 million upvotes.
Oh wow.
And
oh yeah.
so that's
Same.
I can't do that's something like 0.16. I get point 0.01%. I think at that point.
Maths, Rob.
I don't do the maths. Okay.
You don't do maths well. We know this.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
math was not my strong subject either. So.
Yeah.
So what was the other big reveal then, Andre, you wanted to discuss?
The other big reveal, naturally, is that now we know the title of the, so far, or at least up until now, Untitled Avengers sequel. Namely, Avengers Endgame. What do you think about that title? Rob?
I'm not really surprised because everybody I'm getting used to everybody being wrong on the internet. I mean, it came out
that was the first one that came out. And
yeah,
then everybody said, "Oh, that's not it."
That's not it. Then everyone said Avengers Annihilation. Oh, that's not it either. I'm like Avengers there was another one. Avengers Retribution or something like
I don't know. I literally had at least a half a dozen on that one video that were actually rumored to be true titles.
But when Doctor Strange actually said, he's moving into his Endgame, I'm like, okay, well, that's sort of. I thought for a second, all right, that's probably going to be the title. I don't want to say.
It seemed too obvious at first for me.
Yeah,
like almost like that was a plant.
Yeah,
which it obviously was, and they had planned that before, because people keep on forgetting that even back in, I think it was Captain America: Civil War, even there, Tony Stark says, "But up there, that's the end game." I believe that's the first time it was chosen. So I think that the title was locked at the very beginning of Phase 3, the first time we actually heard the phrase Endgame.
They've been planting that seed for a few years now.
The first time it was shown was actually at that press conference where they announced the Phase 3 slate, and they had cut together this footage of no, sorry, it's not in Captain America: Civil War. I believe it was actually in Avengers: Age of Ultron that he first uttered the phrase "up there." That's the end game, wasn't it?
I think so, because he was talking about how the PTSD had been bothering him and all the stuff from Part 3.
Yeah,
because I think it's after that line. He's like, "Remember when I spent
exactly
X amount of time up in space and blah blah blah."
Yeah, because he was like, it was like this scene where he's talking, really first set the stage for the quarrel between him and Captain America, and that they set the stage for in Age of Ultron, and I think that's where they had that discussion and where that line came, because it was first used in the Phase 3 press conference, and that announcement trailer for Avengers Infinity War Parts 1 and 2 that they cut for that occasion, and there they used that snippet from the as of then unreleased Avengers Age of Ultron, which is why I noticed. So I believe that has been in the cards for a very long time.
Probably.
Yeah, and they've been like planting the seeds. It's very generic.
It reminds me of Highlander.
Well, but the whole thing is, though, I mean, the term endgame actually has its origins from chess, and so you can see this as almost being like a chess, almost like a chess match, like a very sort of this broader kind of strategy, and it has been sort of a chess match on Thanos' part. He's been strategizing how to get the Infinity Stones and how to carry out his ultimate plan. So it kind of fits in that overall context.
It does, but coming off of Infinity War, it just doesn't. I don't know. I wonder if Infinity Gauntlet wasn't the plan, and then when what's her face, Gamora. What's the actress's name? I'm sorry.
Karen Gillan.
Zoe Saldana.
That's what I thought.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking Nebula.
Zoe Saldana, when she leaked it, supposedly, I think she actually did on accident. I'm not.
Yeah, it was leaked way early. I don't remember by who. I'm tempted to
She
say it
said
was Mark
Infinity
Ruffalo.
Gauntlet. Yeah, well, yeah, but she said Infinity Gauntlet was the title, and she like slipped it. And you can tell she slipped it. So I'm wondering if then they changed it to Endgame because of that. Because Infinity Gauntlet fits up with Infinity War, and if the one leak is true, which I don't know if you want to talk about those at all, it would be a segue into that. Is that they either create their own Infinity Gauntlet or whatever was one of the leaks. I'm like, okay, if that's the case, if there's two gauntlets in this movie, or they have another one made, because they're all, because Peter Dinklage's character is the one who made it in the first place. So, it's not like they couldn't have another one made.
But another thing, though, is that Endgame also signifies something else. This is going to be the end of Phase 3 for Marvel. And then we're going to be beginning Phase 4. So this is the end game of everything up to now. The whole 10 years has been built of Marvel Studios and Marvel movies has been building to this.
Yeah. And for that reason, the title makes sense. Like, it's boring, but you can see how it makes sense. And I don't believe that they changed it because of a leak. I believe it was meant to be called Endgame the whole time. I really believe that. I don't think there was ever any chance that the sequel would be called Infinity Gauntlet.
It's like the only one of their movies, though, that to where I swear the tagline was only one word. I'm trying to think other than Ant-Man and Wasp. Because every other time it's like Age of Ultron or, something to that effect.
Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. I mean, that's either Thor the Dark World. Ragnarok is another one.
True.
But Ragnarok really is
end of the
world. The Norse term for for Armageddon.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
much. I guess. So anyway, then, so what was the next topic you wanted to cover today, Andre, on the subject?
Well, we have some more news relating to Endgame, because the event of Thanos snapping out or snuffing out half the universe, however you want to put it, now has an official name. Tom, do you want to take us through that? And then we can talk about our reactions to that name.
Well, the snapping, as it's been referred to, is now called was it the Dissension?
The Decimation.
Decimation. I'm sorry. Decimation.
This is a name that comes from a novel, which I believe is like an official tie-in novel. And since it's used there, there's every reason to assume that that will be the official name for the event. So I'm curious, what do you guys in the audience, what do you think about the name the Decimation rather than the Snapping? I have my own thoughts about it, but I just want to hear what you all think. So in the comments, please let us know. And also, Rob, let's begin with you. What do you think of the Snapping now being called? Kevin Clark, thank you for your super chat donation. That's awesome.
Yes, Kevin Clark, thank you for the $10 Canadian super chat. Seems like Scott go forward in time first from the Quantum, then shows up in front of Avengers HQ. Well, actually, we kind of know that time advances normally in the quantum realm. Or
do we know? Do we know that?
Well, Michelle Pfeiffer aged normally when she was in the quantum realm, and from Ant-Man and the Wasp, didn't she?
To a point.
Yeah, to a point. She looked pretty young for the age she was supposed to be. But
Michelle Pfeiffer still looks fabulous, though. You got to admit that.
She does. Right. Yeah, absolutely. I hope that's true. I hope that's true.
The way the scene cuts off, we don't know if there's a fail-safe to where either it's a time limit or whatever where he'll come back, or if he has the ability to come back. It could be one of those simple things when we get to the next movie. I don't know.
Yeah. But let's get back to the topic at hand. Rob, what do you think about the Decimation instead of the Snapping?
Well, it kind of Decimation, Annihilation, it gives it a very kind of apocalyptic kind of sound to it. And actually, I was listening to Monday Matt, and he was talking about how the Avengers had it's sort of been leaked, the plot point that the Avengers, and nobody has revealed that this is what happened, and everybody thinks, oh well, the rapture came, and then the Earth is populated by the ne'er-do-wells, I guess would be the word for it. But Decimation gives it a it almost sounds like a heavy metal album, really. Decimation. Yeah. I don't know if that's deliberate or, like I said, but it does sound more apocalyptic than just the snapping, Snapping makes it sounds more like a joke,
Tom, before we get your take, Kevin Clark, thanks again for another super chat. I really hope that you're right about your comments about the Ant-Man and the comments and everything that was laid out there. If you're right about that, there's time travel and time vortex, all of those things. That's the kind of things that's going to make me like the movie more. So fingers crossed you're right.
Yeah. I still refer, just as a note, I still refer to the quantum realm as the microverse because, back in the 80s, Micronauts were still a thing in the Marvel universe, but they lost the rights to the name. So anyway, just a quick note on it. Sorry to interrupt. So
yeah. Tom, your thoughts on the Decimation?
Well, before I get into that, Read by Nature brought up Avengers 4 Disassembled. That would probably be in a better title for around the world, because in other areas the first film was called Avengers Assemble or whatever. Over here, though, it was just called The Avengers. As far as referring to the snapping as opposed, well, the snapping's fucking dumb. It sounds like something that's like, oh my god, the snapping was so horrible. I lost my grandma. Oh my OMG. The Decimation sounds much better, and it sounds pretty heavy. And unless it's something that isn't a big part of the movie going into it because of time travel, I'm not sure why they're giving us a name. So maybe it will play a large part, or we don't get to see time travel till later in the movie. I just hope it's not a complete, like redo, and we go to the beginning and everything's like, oh, we just fixed it all. That would be really bad. But I mean, I'm sure they won't do that. But anyway, it makes sense. Snapping is dumb though.
Yeah. The thing with the title, The Decimation, is that, as Rob pointed out, you get the associations of something far more apocalyptic. That's the associations that you get in colloquial talk. It doesn't actually mean that.
It sounds biblical.
As several have pointed out in the comments, and that Mahavis, if I pronounce that correctly, got completely 100% correct. Decimation is a technique used by the Roman army to refine its own armies as punishments of units that collectively participated in something bad. This is true. That is where the term decimation and to decimate comes from. When a Roman unit failed to live up to expectations or otherwise underperformed, to teach them a lesson, to make sure most of them did better the next time, they would kill 1/10. That is what to decimate means, to remove 1/10 of something. Thanos did far more than decimate. He took out half of the universe's population, not 1/10. So it's a term that I think sounds nice in a colloquial way. But for everyone that knows what to decimate actually means, such as myself, and who are a little bit anal about it, it only sounds annoying. I really don't like it. I wish they had something else. Like, as was suggested, the rapture would even be better, even if that has undertones that I absolutely don't like. Most people aren't going to know what happened. Some alien snapped his fingers and then half the universe disappeared.
Right.
No, all the religious fanatics are going to have their own reasons why this happened. And for most people, certainly in America, that's going to be the rapture.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Because like I said, it sounds biblical either way.
Yeah.
The halfening. I like that, Spider Geronimo.
Yeah. So I actually prefer the snapping or the halfening or the anything, not anything, but many things would be better than decimation.
Too too millennial or something. I don't know how the word I want to put to it, but it just doesn't sound serious enough. You know, it would be like coming up with some weird nickname for 9/11. You know what I mean? It just it doesn't feel right.
If we started calling 9/11 Crashy Boom Boom, it wouldn't have the same impact. That's
OG Spocklove has a good suggestion. The Purge. I quite like that.
That's
a nice
not bad.
one. Yeah. And also Mr. Twisted72 had a question. Did Thanos snap half the universe out of existence or just planet Earth? The answer is half the universe. Half of every sentient being in the universe. So not just humans and Klingons and Krulls and Skrien and those people, you know what I mean?
Those guys.
But those guys. But dogs and cats and dolphins and everything, half of all of them are gone.
There you go. Big Gator, what's your thoughts on rumored Kang the Conqueror appearance?
For me, fingers crossed. I really hope there's going to be Kang, and you know who I really want to see? The Living Tribunal. That would save the movie for me. I want them to go really deep cosmic. If we have the Living Tribunal here, and he had a big role in not just the Infinity Gauntlet storyline in the comics, but also its direct sequels. If he's there, then that's me completely won over. If we get like the cosmic characters, if we get the Living Tribunal, Eternity, Galactus, and in theory that could happen by the time this movie opens, and I believe all the powers that be know that. So that would win me over and make this the best movie ever if those guys appear.
Well, not to get too far off topic, but that's kind of the idea, is that when you bring in for Phase 4, when you start bringing in groups like the Eternals, that is going to open the door, and like the Eternals and Nova, and and if they bring in the Silver Surfer, which I want them to do first out of every the Fox properties, that will open the door for the Living Tribunal and Celestials and all those kind of people and all those kind of groups to come in.
Well, I would say that the door for the Living Tribunal is opened by the Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War. That is what provoked him to the scene, not just Galactus and stuff like that, but the actions of the Infinity Gauntlet were so severe that it caught the attention of the one above all, which in the Marvel universe is either the writer or the one that we in this universe would call gods, however you choose to look at it. And his representative is the Living Tribunal. And the actions of Thanos and the snap in that original storyline had such wide-reaching consequences that the Living Tribunal entered the scene. So the door is already open for that. You don't really need Nova or anything else. You can go straight there. Oh, that's the Watcher.
Something like this definitely would grab his attention.
Yeah, that's the Watcher. So who would do that?
Hello? Did I lose you?
I thought I dropped out there. Are we all here?
Yeah. I think we all dropped out a little bit.
Did Thanos get us too? What's going on?
I think so. They're after us. Oh no.
Yeah, some of us went to be with Thanos in the Soul Gem.
Yep. Oh, do we want to go there? Is that the next topic? Is what our predictions are for Avengers Endgame, or what was the next topic?
Well, that would certainly be my prediction that all of the snapped out souls have gone to be with Thanos in the Soul Gem. Gamora certainly has.
Yeah, I think that's implied. But really then that negates the use of time travel. So it's like, or at least in
not necessarily
theory to a point. Yeah,
no, not necessarily. Like the time can go on, and the solution can come years later, and then through time travel they get back to before the snap or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
right.
figure out a way to head Thanos off at the pass, as it were.
But there are indications, at least from the concept art we've seen of the Hulk, which is a much older Hulk, that there's going to be some kind of time lapse, and I really hope so, to be honest.
Right. So you mean like in the beginning of the movie, we'll pick up where it's actually been quite a while since the last movie? Is that what you're saying?
Well, probably not at the beginning, but maybe over the course of the movie.
Right. Because I was going to say, from what we've seen in the trailer, I really do think that's like near the beginning. And what I think happens is Nebula comes.
Yeah. So I think that, well, Tom got cut off a second there.
Yeah.
I think what is gonna happen? We're gonna definitely see a time lapse.
Yeah.
Because as you see, we saw Steve Rogers had a full beard, and I think we see him, he's clean shaven.
Sorry, I dropped out.
That's fine.
But yeah, what I was just going to say is I think Nebula comes back, realizes Tony's still gone, and I think where we see her hand on the shoulder, I think that's Captain America. So everybody who's left is with her on her ship, because she went to where was it? At the end of the movie, where was she at? Titan, that's right. And so I think she's on her way back or whatever, and she realized we got to go find Tony and blah blah blah. So they head out there and they find him. And I think that's like the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of the movie there. That Ant-Man scene's probably before that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be really curious to see what happens, though, because with all the leaks that have been, some of them, I believe, are obvious misdirects that they've leaked intentionally.
Right. Well, maybe even filmed stuff in the past, haven't they? Where it's been to misdirect not only like it's like stuff they're never going to use, but it's to misdirect like the crew and all that stuff to.
Oh, they do that all the time with like these bigger productions, especially within Disney. They do it on Star Wars. They do it here. Because they know things are going to get leaked, and the only thing they can do about it is to have their own leaks, so that we can't say which leaks are accurate and which aren't.
Right. And Marvel's had one of the tightest ships.
They have, absolutely. Because if you pay attention to Midnight's Edge, you'll see that there are many movies where we have some fairly good idea of how things are going to play out. Not on Marvel movies. Oh, there's some obvious stuff, but on this one, for instance, we have various leaks, but we have no way of knowing which ones are accurate and which ones aren't.
Right, because like the Deadpool leaks were dead on.
That they were, but that was Fox, and Fox leaks like a sieve.
And Star Wars, well, we'll have to see. But again, it goes along with generally if everybody involved with the production is happy and thinks that everybody's, on the right path and doing the right thing, it seems like those are the times that people do keep their mouth shut on purpose. Like they don't want stuff to get out.
And with Star Wars, there's major misdirects. They leak shit tons of stuff. Most of which is deliberately fake, just to set people on the wrong track. Like if you go back to the leaks that were prior to The Last Jedi, of course you had all of the legit leaks out there in the ether. But they were surrounded by so many fake leaks that seemed more obvious that there was no way to guess what actually was going to transpire.
Oh, you mean Chewbacca was Luke's father? That wasn't true all along.
Right.
Neither was Anakin Skywalker Rey being the reincarnation of Anakin Skywalker. That apparently wasn't true either.
Yeah, I lost $50 on that one.
Yeah, which is a shame because it would have made the movie better. But yeah, that's
Snoke is Plagueis. Yeah, all those. Half the stuff we wish was true now. Jeez.
Yeah, that sounded bad then. And we're like, oh, God, please make that true instead.
It sounded so bad then compared to what we actually got.
Yep.
All right. So next up on the agenda.
Next up, let's compare this trailer with the other Marvel trailer that was released earlier this week. Now, I know that you guys, you've already shared your thoughts on the second Captain Marvel trailer, but let's just do a quick recap. Tom, what do you think about it?
Well, my last thoughts on the Avenger trailer, it was very purple. Other than that, compared to Captain Marvel, we're getting a lot of meh out of these trailers, I've noticed. I mean, sure, there's people that are excited for it, don't get me wrong. But we're getting people who either just out and out hate Captain Marvel already, or they're not too sure about it. And now with this Avengers trailer coming out like this, and there's some people who like Andre and myself are kind of like either not impressed or middle of the road. It's strange for Marvel. And I don't know if it's this ill will that's kind of seeped into Captain Marvel over its star. I don't know if you really want to get into that topic much. But yeah, I felt that the Captain Marvel trailer was okay, but Rob and I both agreed, and Mecca too on the show at the time, that it just didn't have the oomph we were hoping for, and Bree's performance sounds and looks horrible. The end was funny. We got our little funny tag like we always do on a Marvel movie trailer. That one was funnier than the Ant-Man reveal, at least. And I'm talking about, of course, Nick Fury and the kitty cat, who I don't know why they changed the name from Chewie. Can somebody tell me that and why they would? It makes no sense, because it seems like a good idea for Disney to keep it Chewie, because then there's synergy. You know what I mean? I don't get that.
I don't understand why you changed it either. Yeah,
because I'd be like, oh, okay, I can understand if it was a different company and they wanted to copyright it in some way, but he's already copyrighted by Marvel. So, and Chewie is not exactly Chewbacca, so I'm sure it's copyrighted as Chewie. So it just, I don't know, it just makes no sense to me why they changed that. But anyway, other than that, it was just a lot of meh.
Yeah. As for me, I basically agree with what you're saying, and I agree with Mecha Random 42, who's saying in the chat, I like the cat, but the cat was spoiled by the toy lines. Well, you just read my mind. I like the kitty. The kitty was cute, and I also liked Samuel L. Jackson, who looks great, de-aged, and I liked his reaction to the kitty. And I didn't like that that toy thing spoiled something about the kitty. That it could have kept to itself. Other than that, I agree that the trailer was very meh. As for Brie Larson, I'm going to reserve judgment. It's very easy to say this or that performance, but we don't actually know how the character is meant to be portrayed. Now, I have to come with a huge asterisk here. The only incarnation of Captain Marvel that I'm actually familiar with is the one that Jim Starlin wrote. Other than that, I have zero familiarity with Captain Marvel. I don't know Captain Marvel in the recent comics. I've never read anything Carol Danvers. I'm absolutely clueless about Captain Marvel beyond the Jim Starlin run, and that was a very different Captain Marvel. So for all I know, at least, she is someone that could have been kidnapped by the Kree and been made into a piece of wood, kind of like the woman in Star Trek Discovery was made a piece of wood by the Vulcans, is kind of like implied. So maybe it's not just her performance, maybe it's meant to be that way, and we should wait a little bit with making the judgments. What I will say, though, is that from the performance in the trailers, she really reminds me of Summer Glau when she played the Terminator in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. I get like those associations when she played an emotionless machine. Apart from when she smiled at one time, which was also really, really fake. But yeah, that's my opinion on that.
Yeah. Well, Kevin W. Clark, thank you for the $2 Canadian super chat. Maybe they don't want to be mixed with Lucasfilm now, meaning the change of the name. Actually, I just looked it up. The closest thing to a reason I could find was they changed the kitty's name from Chewie to Goose because that apparently is a Top Gun reference. So apparently the kitty has a need for speed. I don't know. That is a stupid ass reason. So. But anyway, so this is where I give my take on it again. I don't know if you guys remember one of the first videos I made for my own channel, Robot Shlomo, was about the Fantastic Four. And at the end of it, I said, I don't want to hate this movie, but at the same time, you're not giving me a whole lot of reasons to like it either. So that's the kind of the way now I feel about Captain Marvel. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to hate it, but you know what? You're not giving me a reason to like it. You're not giving me a reason to be invested in this character, in this story. And and when I was reading X-Men back in the late '80s, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers was still binary, and she was with the Shi'ar, and she was and actually she was a pretty good character. Rogue sucked her powers out, and she spent a long time in a coma. She came out, and like I said, she became binary, and she was actually a good character back then. But there's a difference to me between acting stoic and being indifferent. And to me, it looks like Brie Larson can't make the distinction between the two. Spock is stoic. I'm trying to think of a character who's indifferent. I mean, and Brie Larson looks indifferent in this movie. I mean, that's the best way.
Data?
Data is emotional.
Like a child.
Yeah, Data looks at the world with a childlike wonder, which is great. I mean, that's fantastic. Spock is stoic. Mikey Spock is indifferent. That's actually but she thinks she's the bestest ever. And so, like I said, I'm not getting anything I can latch onto from the performance. Well, and I keep thinking maybe I'm wrong, but as I keep saying, it looks like Brie Larson is bored. It looks like she does not want to be there. Every time I see a scene with her, I keep thinking she's going to turn and say, "Ugh, how much longer do I have to wear this? Can I leave now? I have to go home and feed my cat." It just looks like she wants to be somewhere else. And the next words out of her mouth are going to be, "I won an Oscar, Don't tell me I don't know what I'm doing." So, yeah, I mean, she's not giving me a whole lot here.
Hopefully, and here this is just me hoping, but hopefully that's the character and not her performance throughout. But I'm sure that we're going to see that in the next trailer and certainly in the movie itself, which is a few months away. So, long story short, then, we're not too excited about Captain Marvel, but we hope for the best. And we're more excited about Avengers Endgame, although a little bit anxious about that too. Does that about sum it up?
To a point, I actually would be more excited for Captain Marvel if I didn't have Infinity War-itis during Ant-Man and Wasp. And that's kind of what I wanted to get to earlier when I brought that up, was these two movies should not have come out between Avengers Infinity War 1 and 2.
Especially not Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Exactly. Because the tension's in the air, because as a viewer, most people did. So you're like, okay, come on, get to it. Sooner or later, something's going to connect here. And you didn't get that until that little scene at the end, which was the only good part of the movie, really, as far as like that stands out now, because everything else is forgettable because you spent the whole movie going, okay, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? Something's going to happen to sync this up sooner or later. And you didn't really have the fun you did with the first film because you were thinking about Infinity War the whole time. At least that was my experience.
That was mine too.
If I saw this before Infinity War, then I think I would have liked it a lot more. I have to watch it again, but Rob, have you even seen it yet?
I actually have not seen it. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I've been doing a piss poor job of getting my butt to the cinema. So, but I did see the post credit scene that was online. And to me, it would seem that the post-credits scene would have worked better if it was before Infinity War. So it would make you say, wait a minute, what happened? And something big went down, So, but like I said, nothing against it. Like I said, I just haven't gotten around to seeing it either. And actually, I said the other day, I tend to not get to the and going to the movies is a pain in the ass, really. I mean, the whole experience for me is I've been soured on the whole experience. I know we're a movie podcast, but at the same time, kids bring their kids. It's expensive. But the theater that I go to has just started serving beer, so at least there's that.
Rob, yeah. Hasn't seen Ant-Man and Wasp. The only white guy in America who hasn't seen Black Panther.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not woke enough.
Yeah. So,
do I have to turn in my woke points?
No, because you've seen Star Trek Discovery, so you're good.
So again, that same thing I think is going to creep in with Captain Marvel. Thank you, Arizona Underdog Crew. $2 super chat says hashtag the wokening. Yeah, right. Hopefully not with Captain Marvel, and that's what I was going to get to. Is I don't have so much an issue with all the whole controversy outside of it. I don't know. I hope that there's something in this that at least is better than Ant-Man and Wasp that makes me go, okay, I see why they showed this between the movies. Because that was my biggest gripe coming out of Ant-Man and Wasp. Was like, this could have been before Infinity War, and it actually would have been better because then everybody would been like, what the fuck just happened in the end scene, when all us comic book fans would geek out because we know what the fuck just happened.
You know what? Actually, you know what I'm looking forward to in Captain Marvel? I'm looking forward to seeing Jude Law. Because if he's Marvel, that's going to be badass. And I would much rather see a movie about Marvel at this point than Carol Danvers. I mean, yeah, call me whatever ist or ism you want in the book, but the what little I've seen of Jude Law in the trailers, I'm like, hey, you know what? That's a character I want to see more of. Because Jude Law is a fantastic actor. And I would really love to see him like as Norrin Radd in a Silver Surfer movie. But at the same time, Jude Law is doing more more of a job selling his character than Carol Danvers is than Brie Larson as Carol Danvers is doing for her character, and that's saying something.
Yeah, well, Jude Law certainly is a great actor, so it's going to be cool to see him, and also to see the Kree-Skrull War play out on the screen. So all of those things, they should be huge pluses for the movie. Also, I'm looking forward to seeing the young Coulson, which we so far haven't seen in the trailers, have we? Or did we see a glimpse of him in the first one?
We saw a very brief glimpse of him. No dialogue, a very brief glimpse of him.
All right, well, I hope he has a bigger role than he did in the original Iron Man movies. But yeah.
Yeah, so like I said,
do you really think he will?
Or I don't know. Well, like I said, it's the 90s, so I mean, so pretty much all the people that are old enough to be associated with S.H.I.E.L.D. in the 90s and the 80s and 90s would be in this movie. Coulson, Sam Jackson, probably Mitch Carson, the guy that Hank Pym punched in the beginning of Ant-Man.
Right.
Haley Atwell probably might make an appearance. You never know. Howard Stark had been killed by then.
Yeah, he died in 89 or something, wasn't it?
Like 89 or 91.
Clearly, there are things to look forward to in Captain Marvel, even though I get some of you aren't too sold on Brie Larson's performance. But fingers crossed that it's just part of the performance and she'll blow us away in the movie. Marvel generally hasn't gone wrong in casting yet, so let's hope that they don't begin now.
Yeah, well, I hope you're right. Yeah. So, next topic on the agenda.
Well, we kind of talked about this a little bit. What is our hopes for the actual involvement in Endgame as far as Captain Marvel goes?
Well, one thing I noticed was that she's not in the trailer whatsoever. I mean, I don't think that's an accident.
Which is strange. I thought, and it's funny you bring that up, Rob. Thank you, because I'm like, okay, there has to be a reason why they're dropping two Marvel trailers so close together.
She is in the movie.
Right.
She's in the promotional art, and everyone says she is in the movie. But I think it's a bit telling. It's kind of odd at the same time that she is not in this trailer.
Yeah,
which makes me think that they're very cognizant of the reaction towards Brie Larson, or that she has a part that they don't want to give away yet.
Well, it's funny that you say that too, because like the day after that trailer dropped, there was this story with her about how it's the most challenging character she's ever had and how important it was to her. Like all the stuff where we were going on about, it just doesn't seem like she's that interested in the program, like you were saying. Like it was a counter to combat all that talk and that noise. Like this perfectly timed interview with her dropped. I can't remember. I think it was Screen Rant.
Like Damage Control almost.
Yeah, exactly. Andre?
Well, let's just hope that there is something to that interview and that we're going to see more than we've seen in the trailers. That is my hope. As I said, it's part of the character that we see so far, and we're going to see much more in the movie. So I at least will reserve judgment until then.
Well, I hate, like I always say, I hate to think that we're prejudging a movie, but at the same time, a trailer is supposed to get you excited. It's supposed to give you an idea of what a movie is like. It's supposed to get you excited. It's supposed to build your anticipation. And I'm sorry, like Captain Marvel is just not doing it for me. I don't know why. Like I said, we could be wrong. We could be. I mean, I've seen plenty of movies that I said, this looks dumb, and I've gone. It's like, wow, that's really good. So, like I said, we could very well be wrong about this. I hope I'm wrong.
And then there was The Last Jedi. Where the trailer looks great.
Wow, this looks incredible. This might be the best Star Wars movie ever. And then we walk out. What did I just watch?
To be fair, it took a little bit time for denial to stop leaving the system, or to leave the system. And the backlash didn't come right away, but it came soon enough. But anyway, about Captain Marvel, the thing to keep in mind is that the scenes where we've seen her really stoic, those are the scenes where we're dealing with a seemingly amnesiac Captain Marvel. Seemingly. So I still maintain hope that a character.
I just think I can't help but think that Brie Larson's just been miscast. Oh, you dropped out for a minute, yeah. Well, anyway, I was saying about how what was that final thought you had? Because you sounded like you dropped out.
I did. Okay, now I was basically just repeating that I hope that it's the character, that what we've seen so far in the trailers is the amnesiac Captain Marvel, and that there's going to be far more in the movie. That at least is the hope.
Yeah, so they're probably gonna play up like a Bourne Identity angle. The amnesiac assassin. I got a feeling that it's probably gonna be. I don't want to say it's gonna be Marvel's version of the Bourne Identity. The Bourne Identity has been a story, a plot dynamic they've used quite a bit. It's someone who thinks they're working for a greater cause, and it turns out they're not. And as she gets her memory back, she's probably going to discover, hey, wait a minute, the Kree have been using me. So, but like I said, I keep like thinking. Yes, except that how'd you get your powers? And she's going to know how she got her powers.
I don't
know. Yeah, and nice hero's journey. So anyway, but I keep thinking, like I said, that. I'm back. I got a browser error. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you did. I was going to say you dropped out or something. I thought it was just on my end, hopefully, but
yeah, I was thinking the same. I was like thinking, okay, so it must be.
Boy, this thing is just acting up crazy tonight. I tell you what.
Yeah.
It's Disney. They're trying to silence us.
But we want to thank all you guys for sticking in with all the problems we've been having. We do appreciate that. It's Google. We don't know what's happening because I dropped out too just before Rob did. So
Google had an update to their Google had an update to their browser actually recently. So and it's been causing a lot of problems.
Don't you love updates?
Oh, I look forward to everyone. What are they going to screw up now?
Okay, so well, as Rob was kind of talking into our next topic, really, actually, was our prospects of the movie. And we were still kind of talking about what our hopes were for her involvement in Endgame as well, I think.
Actually, yeah, we're still on that topic.
You dropped out. That's why I didn't hear what you said at the end, so.
Okay, well, like I said, I keep thinking that Brie Larson's been miscast. That's
yeah.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people had hopes Katie Sackhoff was going to be cast as Carol Danvers. She's, I hate to say she's a bit old now for that. I mean, I had hopes that Yvonne Strahovski was going to be cast, and because, quite frankly, like I said, I think she's more suited to the part, and she's hotter than Brie Larson, and not by a little. So that always helps. But like I said, so we're gonna have. Hopefully, she'll surprise us. So
right. It doesn't sound like we're the only ones having issues with Google's, according to the chat. Read by Nature says we've been robbed twice. ROBB, because you were on there twice.
Yeah,
because your one took a second to drop out. And of course, God has spoken since Andre is here, implying that Andre is God. As Eclectic Nick says, and he's right. He's right.
Oh, thank you. Know what else to say? Shall we move into the next topic?
Yes.
Have we said everything there is to say about Captain Marvel at this stage?
I have.
Yeah.
Well, I as far as her being in the next movie, I hope she doesn't take over Avengers Endgame. I don't think she's going to be the one who's really going to be the one to take out Thanos. I think that's going to be Nebula or whatever. Mainly. Yeah,
Nebula, maybe Gamora. Well, one thing though, I got to say though, is that actually Gary Beekler from Nerdrotic, he actually brought this up. Marvel has made a huge bet on Captain Marvel and on Brie Larson and Carol Danvers. If they're looking to make her, they made a huge bet if they're looking to make her the face of the MCU for the next decade. And that bet stems from a survey that came out a couple years ago where they asked women, how many of you are you interested in comics? And something like 60% said yes or whatever. And they took that as, oh, well, we have this much readership, are women. I'm like, no, that just shows you the level of interest. A better question would have been, do you actually read comics, or do you go to a comic book store, or are you familiar with these characters? And it just seems like they're making this huge bet on pretty flimsy evidence. And I always hear that, and I read actually 52% of the movie-going audience is women. Okay, 52% of the movie-going audience is women, but 60% of the audience for these movies is still men. I'm sorry. I gotta say, I don't think I'm saying anything that's that controversial. And if this doesn't work, they're gonna have to, if this doesn't work, making Carol Danvers the face of the MCU, like Tony Stark was for the last decade, for the next decade, they're gonna have to course correct in a hurry. I'm not saying that it's that they can't do it, but like I said, this is carrying a lot more risk. They need this to pay off in a big way too.
Well, I think you might be a little bit more worried than you need to be, Rob, but I do understand your concern and where you're coming from. And that was what I was going to say to the point where you're getting is, before this controversy with Brie, the various things that she said and done that have kind of gotten a lot of people pissed off at her, before that, interest in this movie was like at a peak. Because I've seen, I don't know how many different polls that said, are you more interested in Wonder Woman 2? Or are you more interested in Captain Marvel? And Captain Marvel was beating Wonder Woman in every poll by not just a little bit, by at least 2/3 usually, if not a third. It would be like 60 to 40% in most cases, if not more. So it seemed like for a while it was like, holy shit, Captain Marvel's going to do better than we thought. And then all of a sudden this controversy started happening with her opening her mouth and saying stupid things, and the Stan Lee thing and all that kind of stuff. It was the picture of her on the day that he passed away. And yeah, it just, I don't know. I really don't know if that's going to really affect the movie as bad as it has the fandom. I don't know if really you want to get into that much, Andre, but
Well, we can mention it because I think that Disney needs to keep much tighter rein on their cast and crew and other creative personnel, basically, because they can't go in and mouth up in public like that. Of course, they have the right to do it, but they represent a company and products, and when they make these extremely politically charged statements, yeah, they're going to win brownie points with their peers in Hollywood, and they're going to score popularity points with half the audience. But they're going to piss off the other half of the audience, the ones that don't agree with them politically. And that's really not something you want to do in that position. And there are signs that Disney have started to rein them in a little bit, to like pull out some stops and basically make some demands for what people in their employ can and cannot say, which I honestly don't mind. But in the case of Brie Larson, it might be too late. I don't think it's going to affect the box office directly, but it certainly is going to influence fandom. And from fandom, it might spread to the box office at least a little bit by way of the general audience. Like, because right now you already have the tendency that the movie is starting to be labeled as woke and SJW. And these are not particularly beneficial labels to
well,
bring
look what happened to
the
Solo.
box office. Exactly.
Well, yeah.
But with Solo, there were bigger issues than
Well,
just
of course.
that.
But that was a factor that
Didn't
didn't help. Yeah. So, Rob, did you have anything more to add to that before we go on to the next thing?
Like I said, the whole tagline they're trying to. It starts with her, it starts with that thing. I mean, and like I said, the whole thing with Instagram and her, remembering Stan Lee with the photo of her
selfie.
just sipping a margarita or whatever.
Yeah.
She has a drink in her hand with the personally inscribed bag that says Brie, as if she's going to forget her own name. I mean, yeah, way to make it all about you.
Exactly. And I think that, and then, and then she doesn't even need, that's the worst part, is she doesn't even need to do this herself. She has enough other people out there doing it for her. Because what was this recent thing about where, who was it that posted, oh, we don't want to hear your opinion, white men, on the Captain Marvel trailer?
Oh, that was the Mary Sue. That was the
So it's like just another thing. It's like you already have enough of this out there already. You're just, not only are you adding fuel to the fire, you're throwing gasoline on that sumbitch because you're the center of attention. You are what this is all about. And now you're just, not to really compare it to anything, but it's almost like kind of like what's going on in the media and with the president and everything. It's like every time something comes up, he's got to add it and make it worse than it already was that everybody else was doing. So why, she's doing the same damn thing. It's like, just keep your fucking mouth shut.
MVG actually.
Exactly. Yeah. Go on, Rob. I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
No, you go. You're the narrator.
MVG says, I'm certain Feige and Disney have likely had a conversation with Larson. If I've said this before, if I'm Kevin Feige, I would have called her into the office. Says, sit down. Says, listen, I know you're very passionate about your causes, but I have Yvonne Strahovski's name in my contacts. Just better. You better watch your step, or you could be replaced. Just go ask Edward Norton. So.
Right, and Andre, you were going to say, and that's a good point too about Norton, but you were going to say after I said, she just should just keep her mouth shut because it's already bad enough out there. She's just making it worse. You were going to say something.
Yeah, well, basically, as MVG pointed out, that the anti-male criticism isn't coming from Disney, but the usual magazines and websites. But they are the ones fanning the flames. So if the cast are adding fuel to that fire, that's what they can't be doing. So they need to be a little bit more neutral in their comments.
Yeah, I just hate to think that she has a built-in excuse if this movie underperforms.
Right, and we've talked about that on the show regularly, about how that it seems like anymore they set themselves up to where no matter what happens, they can blame it on somebody else anymore. And this is just one of those situations where it's like, oh, well, it's because these white males, the movie didn't perform.
Yeah, and that's a very unfortunate ideology that misplaces blame quite deliberately, because you have an ideology that's based on intersectionality, which is not the science, but again, it's a pure ideology based on some random thinker that dreamt something up.
It's often referred to as third wave feminism, and there's a guy I listen to, actually. I'm not going to mention his name, his channel, but he does one of the more left leaning YouTube channels out there, and he says whenever he reads like one of these things happening, some of these comments about such and such, oh, this is terrible, that's terrible. He said, don't you realize you just make everybody out there go, oh God, here we go again. Oh, really? You're here. Why do you have to? Yeah. Why do you have to go and do this? That's I got a feeling what may very easily happen.
Tim Augustine, thank you so much for the $2 donation.
Yes,
Andre stream, woo. That woo. I got to do that again. Woo. There we go. That's a little
woo. Yeah. And to answer those, was that a cat crying in the background and stuff? No, that's my 1-year-old. So anyone wondering why was I whispering in the Daredevil video? That's why. I really was trying not to wake someone.
The little one.
I did, but my better half is taking care of it, I think.
Well, I hope that wasn't me getting rowdy there and you had the speakers on or something, actually.
No, I don't think that he heard you through my headset.
Maybe he just felt my aggression. I don't like that. No, anyway. So yeah. Speaking of prospects, what do you think the prospects are of, and this will segue nicely into our next part, any of the Netflix characters popping up in the next Avengers film? I'm sure the answer is 0%. What do you guys think?
Andre?
Non-existent.
Yeah, well, they've already said that they've already announced this Shang-Chi movie. And I talked about this last night, which I don't think anybody's actually going to go see. But it may you never know. It may turn up on Disney streaming.
Yeah, we had an interesting theory about that.
Yeah, and actually, I get Matt Jarbo. Actually, Mundane Matt was talking about this, so I can't take credit for this. But there's this idea that a movie like Shang-Chi, when it gets made, is going to be a conduit for Daredevil, or for Luke Cage, for Iron Fist, for Jessica Jones.
Well, we were saying that too last night.
Yeah.
That's what we were saying, was like, what if this is either to recast or the ability for them to use those characters, because they'll say it's a movie, whether it's on the streaming service or in theaters, it's still a movie.
Yeah.
So it could be their FU back to Netflix. I mean, I'm sure this is all speculation. We're just obviously, theorizing, but
I just really want to see Charlie Cox continue to play Daredevil. I mean, talk about a guy who's perfect for a part, tailor-made for it,
Well, because in your research for it, you realize that he was a big part of those characters and teamed up with a lot of them guys. So,
Andre?
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely want the Netflix shows to come back, most notably Daredevil and The Punisher. The rest's really not that important to me. As for Shang-Chi, you know why I think that movie is being made? Of course, there might be other reasons, but I think that's Marvel's apology tour for Iron Fist.
Right. Well, and we said it could have been set up to be one of the next Netflix shows when all this shit went down.
No, I don't think so. I really don't think so, because this is being announced as a movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it's being announced as a movie.
Yeah.
We were like, maybe it started as a Netflix series. That was one of our theories, possibly.
I don't think so, for the very simple reason that the Marvel Netflix series are overseen by Marvel Entertainment, whereas the Marvel movies are overseen by Marvel Studios, and there's very little connection between the two. Of course, there could be like some mandate that they want something for Disney Plus, and that they realized that, okay, we need to do something with the Netflix things, because now we get them all back. So what do we do? Do we bring them into the movies? Do we make TV series? That Iron Fist thing that really didn't go down well at all, with so many people complaining because they stayed true to the character and made the character white. And many had a huge issue with that. And of course, they have the possibility of doing I'm not going to say similar, but well, yeah, kind of similar character who is into martial arts, but who is Asian. And then, yeah, I can see that kind of like being a motivation. The whole Netflix thing, that it might have something to do with it. Is that going to be a conduit to bring back the Netflix shows? Honestly, I hope not, because the one thing I really couldn't stand about the Netflix shows were all the ninjas and the hand and that mysticism, the thing that we saw really taking off with Iron Fist and culminating in the Defenders. I couldn't stand any of that stuff.
Right.
So I hope that Shang-Chi is going to be a standalone thing. Maybe bring in Iron Fist if you have to. But the rest I want kept well clear of that. Like give Daredevil his own thing, whether a movie or season 4 on Hulu, that would be ideal. I don't want him brought in as a conduit through something else. Daredevil can stand on his own, and everyone else from the Netflix universe can be brought in through him. That I'm happy with.
Right.
All right, well, before we go on, we got a couple super chats actually.
I was gonna say this episode is brought to us by Kevin W. Clark.
Yes, the $5 Canadian super chat. Thank you very much. Instead of canceling Marvel TV, they should have had them affected by the snap to finish them. Oh, that's a good point. And Jess Reed,
some of them.
I imagine some of them have been gone. Yeah.
Okay.
Jess Reed.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Jessica Jones. But Jess Reed, thank you for the $2 super chat. Hi, MEAD. I miss you guys. Hail, Andre.
Thank you.
Yeah, he hasn't been around as much lately. Glad to see you and be able to join us today.
Yeah.
Right. So speaking of the Netflix shows, and as you brought up earlier, your editorial, Andre, Daredevil cancellation. You're not too happy about this. Oh, and Dr. Coffin Nails, we got one from him too. $2 super chat. Bet they don't make Fu Manchu his dad. Yeah, that was something we forgot to bring up last night when we were talking about this. To go back to Shang-Chi real quick, is how he's I don't know if it's in all versions, but in at least one or two versions, he's the son of Fu Manchu. What do you guys think about that?
I got to be honest. I was reading Marvel really regularly in the 80s. I never heard of Shang-Chi. It was long gone by that time I started reading Marvel. I don't know. So I honestly, I don't know who this is even for. Like you said, Andre, you said this is an apology for Iron Fist. Said, okay, here's your Asian character. Now shut up. But
honestly, that would be my guess. Of course, there's more to it. I am not familiar enough with the Shang-Chi comics myself.
No.
That I can say it must be this or that. I don't see it. So on the surface,
yeah, I can see this working as a straight martial. Yeah, I can see this working as a straight martial arts film. But if this is meant to tap into the Asian market, the Chinese market, the Chinese didn't even want to see Crazy Rich Asians. I don't know why. I don't know why they would want to see this. I mean, if they're going to see a movie starring Asian people, they're probably going to say, listen, we have our own movies. I want to see a big Hollywood star. And
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. And that's actually what they said when The Last Jedi came out. We don't want to see these people. We want to see big Hollywood stars like Will Smith and Charlize Theron and whoever, so I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing that this decision to make this film.
So much so trying to appeal to them when, the argument, like you said, and even other people have made the point, and they don't want to see, they see those kind of movies with their kind of stars all the time. They want imported movies so they can see big stars. That's why Arnold Schwarzenegger was so big, because he wasn't just big here. He was big everywhere, throughout the 80s and 90s. That's why he was such a huge star, because if you just went by his domestic, he would have been done with probably after a couple movies after Terminator 2. Like, he wouldn't have made another movie ever. After the couple flops he had there, probably. But it was the fact that he was such a huge star all over the world. Same thing with Sylvester Stallone and all these guys. Well, now instead of you got Will Smith and you've got Bruce Willis and all these other stars and Denzel Washington and your favorite, what's his name that you always want to vote for, Rob?
Idris Elba.
Yeah. That's why.
You want to know something funny though? Listen, remember the movie a couple years ago, The Great Wall?
Yeah, the one with Matt Damon.
Yeah, Matt Damon.
Yes. I saw there was a feature on that on 60 Minutes. Okay. Yeah. The Chinese production company, they wanted to prove they can make a big Hollywood style production. So they make this movie, The Great Wall, filled with special effects, actors, and they said, we want a big Hollywood star in it to prove that we can let's get Matt Damon. They were so happy. Go ahead. What was? No, go ahead. What was that?
No, they were so happy. Go ahead.
They were so happy to get Matt Damon. They were so excited to get Matt Damon. Look, we've got Matt Damon. Matt Damon, isn't this great? We've got Matt Damon. Matt Damon's in our movie. A big Hollywood star like Matt Damon's going to be in our movie. And all Americans kept saying was, I can't believe they whitewashed this role. Oh, it's so horrible to have a Western actor in a white man playing an Asian. I'm like, you motherfuckers. I'm like, you don't even know what they're trying to do. And I'm like, so it just seems so that the audience that is designed for a lot of these, like I said, the quote unquote woke crowd, it just seems like even when everything is like this is tailored for them, even then they won't get it because there's going to be something that they will not like about it. They'll nitpick it to death, like the old saying, "Death by a thousand cuts."
Yeah,
they pick it up, they'll pick it apart to the point where that there's no way it can succeed.
Well, and John T. Net, I don't think he's with us because we're earlier today, and he's usually on our later ones. He's from China, or at least lives in China. I don't know if he's actually Chinese or not, because he's never told us, and it doesn't really matter. But we asked him, considering we knew he lived there, and just from his point of view, why was Venom so big there? His answer, Tom Hardy. That was his straight answer, was like, everybody's in love with Tom Hardy because of Batman. That was what he said.
Never underestimate star power internationally. Just has to be the right star.
Yeah. Will Smith is a huge star still overseas.
Exactly. But sometimes it's not Matt Damon.
I was in Italy. I saw a huge billboard with Will Smith for Men in Black 3. I'm like, wow, this is the last thing I expected to see over here.
Right. Speaking of, we got a name for that, and that goes completely into what we're talking about. Men in Black International. Why do you think we're doing a Men in Black International? To appeal to the international crowd, because Men in Black is huge all over the world. Even though the third movie wasn't that big here, it did okay, but it did much better overseas.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Daredevil,
we're straying a bit off topic here.
Yeah, back to Daredevil.
So anyway, like I said.
So yeah, Andre, you did a editorial. I think it just dropped yesterday, right? Yeah.
I think it was 2 days ago.
2 days ago? I don't know. I don't sleep enough to know what day it is anymore.
There you go.
It's all one big blur, according to Tom. Yeah.
It actually might be yesterday for me and 2 days for him since he's in Norway, but we'll just go with that for now. So tell us your thoughts to kind of kick this topic off again. You did this video on the Netflix shows because I don't know if you mind me asking, full disclosure, at first you didn't seem like you were going to say too much about it until I brought it up to you. What kind of made you change your mind there?
Well, I kind of wanted to do it, but what changed my mind was that I was in the middle of prepping the next Star Trek script and the next Star Wars editorial. And then it was like, oh, fuck, here comes this Daredevil things from the sideline. Do I do this? Do I wait? What do I do? And then you pointed out to me that this was kind of a big deal to Midnight's Edge. And I was like, oh, yeah, of course. This is how we started. This is what we were back when the channel first begun. Fuck, it's Daredevil. I haven't had time to think about it. Like it hadn't hit me. Daredevil is cancelled. There's not going to be a season 4. What the hell is this? Of course I have to cover this. So yeah, that's how that change came about. It was basically me being busy with everything else, and then you reminding me, making it hit home, that Daredevil has actually been cancelled. and that really sucked because, in my honest opinion, Daredevil is the best TV series I've seen in, I don't know, maybe the past decade. Tim Augustin sent a $5 super chat asking, Andre, I've been wanting to ask you this for a while. Can you rap about Judge Dredd on stream? Can I rap? I can't rap. Period. Not even in Norwegian.
Well,
No,
in America, that is also
you can ask me to
talking,
make
but yeah.
dissertation about Judge Dredd.
Yeah, well,
And
rap
I would
is
be very happy to do that. But
rap is just a colloquialism. Can you just give your thoughts? Yo, I gotta go. The mayor wants to rap with me, you know. And just
you know what?
just
Okay, cool. Let's save it for the end
yeah.
of the show, and I'm very happy to go into Judge Dredd. Then I promise.
Yeah, I'm about to disappoint you, Andre. They had Judge Dredd at my local Walmart for $5 on Blu-ray, and I didn't get it.
What? You're gotta smack you. Lokta, thank you. He's right. Tom, we Asians have been trying to be like you. We don't want Americans to tell us. We don't want Americans to tell the truth. Us to tell the truth. I think he means we do, because that's what we're trying to say is like we want the truth out there. Is that what you're saying? Or what do you mean by that? Kind of clarify, and we'll get back to that. But anyway, Andre, Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil. So basically, yeah, that cancellation, it really hit me. It really depressed me because I love that series. It's probably my favorite series since The Shield. I don't watch that many series, but that one I really enjoyed, especially with season 2 when we brought in the Sun and Punisher. It's been a little bit up and down in each season, but generally the level has been very high. It's the only series I can say for the last 5-6 years where I've really enjoyed it and seen all the seasons the moment it came out. And there's not going to be a season 4, and it's cancelled not because of any lack of views or anything. The demand is there purely because of corporate political bullcrap. And that really stings me. I hope that the series can resume with this cast in this world. I don't want a reboot. I don't want a recasting. I want this to continue. What is going to happen? I don't know. We just don't have the basis to guess. We don't know enough about the contracts. We don't know how big of a deal Netflix owned. Does Netflix own the scripts? Or does it all belong to Marvel? Do they have to begin again? We don't know. It's impossible to say with the information we currently have. But all in all, I'm just really disappointed that it was cancelled. And I'm very happy to shed light on why it was cancelled, because there appear to be many thinking it was Disney behind it. And then you had Steve from Collider.
I was just going to bring that up. Yep.
Yeah, saying that it was Disney behind it. Okay, well, why is Disney behind it? Can you tell us the business logic of why Disney would be behind it instead of just making a random claim?
Right.
Give us something to justify it. Until that happens, I'm going to call bullcrap on that. I'm going to say Netflix did it until otherwise it's proven. And it's not proven until we know why it would be done. What did Disney have to gain by doing it?
Right. And that's the point. The only way I can see it is if it was a fuck you to Netflix by saying, okay, you're going to cancel these other 2 shows on us. Fine. Screw you. We're going to take our biggest show away from you. But then you have too many, and then that would insinuate that there's a conspiracy involved to make Netflix look bad, which I'm not saying Disney is above, but I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, especially in the position I'm in, you know, on a public forum here like this. My point is that's the only way it makes sense, though. You get what I'm saying?
Actually, not quite. The only way that it makes sense, I'm not saying this has happened, but the only scenario under which Disney would be the ones doing the cancellation would be if they said, we're taking this back, but as a face-saving measure, we're going to let you pretend in public that you're big and strong and you're the ones that did this, instead of us just taking it away. That's the only reason I can see why Disney would be behind it. If they have another plan, then they just allow Netflix to save face. And I don't think that's what's happened, because often the simple explanation is the best one. And the simple explanation here is Netflix did it, and they did it
Right.
because Disney is becoming a corporate enemy.
Right, but that's what I'm trying to say is I can't, even with the way you're saying it, still just from a corporate point of view in America, how Disney works and their, what they're known to do in the past and manipulate certain situations. I'm not saying they're above it, but otherwise, why would Disney cancel it? That's the only way, is if it would be to say F you to Netflix, and for all these people involved with the show, unless Disney kept them completely in the dark, to go out there and say, we had no idea that this was going to happen. We had plans for season 4 that are now canceled. Like the one writer, I think, even said that they had just had a meeting the other day about what was going to happen in season 4, and then all of a sudden they get this news.
Yeah,
And they found out like we did.
I'm inclined to believe that, because you also have to just realize that from Disney's perspective, having those shows on Netflix is actually a pretty sweet deal. You have two enormous benefits. Those shows, they can't go on Disney Plus. They will fit on Hulu. On Hulu, but that means that there'll be profit sharing with loads of other parties, because between their Fox share and their Disney share, they only have 60%, meaning 40% of all the revenue is split with someone else, maybe people that they don't want to split that revenue with. With Netflix, it was fine, you could have it there. And the beauty is that it's risk-free, because Netflix were the ones paying for that series development. Exactly the same deal that CBS had with Star Trek Discovery, where season 1 was risk-free for them because it was Netflix that paid for the whole shebang, is exactly the same thing with Daredevil and all of the Netflix series. Netflix were the ones paying the bill, plus a hefty price tag. So those shows, from Disney's point of view, was free shows of a nature that they can't do themselves, and they got paid boatloads for it with zero risk. So Disney had absolutely no reason to cancel those shows. So again,
exactly,
Netflix did.
Well, that's where I come from too. And I mean, Steve, I respect him as in his position and being somebody who does something similar. So I want to believe he's right, but we've heard so much to the contrary, to where, like I said, my theory is the only one I could buy is that Disney's actually saying F you, and they're nefariously telling people to go out there and say, no, Netflix did it. Or, like we said, they don't know anything because they're kept in the dark, but which at that point too, Netflix would come out and say, hey, wait a minute, that's not true, and blah, blah, blah. So to me, this makes sense that it was Netflix because they're trying to cut out their competition.
Yeah. Just one quick comment before it disappears from my screen to Angelus 201, who says, I can absolutely believe that Disney cancelled. Why would you give your IPs to your competitor? For this reason, Marvel still had most of the creative control, and it was pure profit to them with no risk. That's why.
Well, I was going to kind of get to a similar point to that. So, and the only other thing is they're going to evidently, if they do make Hulu worldwide, they're going to have to change the name over there, because it doesn't sound like it's one you like to say. I just had to pick on you there a little bit with the Hulu thing.
Yeah, well, it's not going to sound good in Norwegian.
That's what I was thinking, and to be serious and make a joke at the same time. Yeah. But I thought I either read, I can't confirm it, so I don't know if it was a rumor, if it was true, but it sounded like Warner might be selling their percentage out to Disney, possibly, or to. I don't know if anybody else has heard anything about that. I'd have to.
Now that's real interesting if that is true. I haven't heard anything about that because I haven't researched it. But if they do it, like, how big a share does Warner have? Because Warner would be one of the companies that Disney doesn't want to share anything with. and especially Comcast. They hate Comcast. They especially don't want to share anything with them. But if Warner sells out, that's a huge thing.
They have a 10% share.
Are they selling it to Disney or to someone else?
Let me look here. I'll keep looking. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves. Here, will I see if I can find it? I seen it the other day. AT&T may sell Hulu stock worth up to $930 million, potentially giving Disney more control. From Variety. This is the 30th. Sorry, not yesterday. Disney might be set to gain even more control over Hulu. AT&T said it's considering selling Warner's 10% stake in the streaming venture, which is worth as much as $930 million. Did I say billion before? I'm sorry if I did. As part of shedding non-strategic assets to pay down its massive debt load. So, sounds like a win-win for both teams on that one. That would give Disney another 10% of their 60% majority ownership, giving them 70% now. And I think that kind of answers the question of what their overall goal is. And with Comcast Universal doing their thing, I think the next step would be to see what they want to sell out for. Basically,
Warner Brothers is supposedly trying to start their own streaming service. So...
Oh, they are. They announced that one. Yeah, and I seen a thing the other day between AT&T and Warner. They're going to alone have, I think, over a dozen streaming services or close to it. Again, I'd have to look up the actuals, but
yeah, that's what I meant. They're going to start another one.
Yes. Yeah. This one's specifically for Warner Brothers, though. Well, let me see if I can pull that up here.
That was the worry why the sitcom Friends was going to be leaving Netflix.
That was why it was going to leave Netflix, and then they made that $100 million deal, which was all money in Warner Brothers' pocket.
All I have to say about that deal, like I don't know how much money Friends is generating for
it must
Netflix
be enough.
Still. But like just at face value, paying that amount for Friends reruns seems incredible, and not in a good way.
Yeah, you on Saturday afternoon all day long, you can watch Friends just on whatever cable channels are that everywhere in America. It's on at least once a day on any station in syndication. So it still makes quite a bit of money.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's so easily accessible everywhere. So why would Netflix pay such an amount for something?
Well, considering they wouldn't let that go, and they're not worried about Daredevil, shows probably the difference in the audience too, and how little those Netflix shows were actually generating for them.
Well,
to.
Well, you have a lot of cord cutters now, though. That didn't a lot of quote unquote millennials. They want to watch it on streaming.
Well, I think we're all forgetting how big Friends was.
Oh, it's huge.
It was fucking huge. And of course it went into syndication in a time where, to bring back what you were just saying, where people were cutting the cable. So it may not have played in syndication, but it's obviously playing on Netflix enough for them to hand over $100 million to Warner Brothers. Because other than that, it's a big FU to Disney, which is just crazy. I might as well get a tinfoil hat out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we're going to piss you off more by giving your biggest competitor $100 million for this show. You know, that's crazy talk.
Seems a little bit like cutting off your nose to spite their face, though, because Netflix can't afford that.
Not really, no, they can't, because from what we hear, they live hand to mouth, or however you want to say it, as it is. That they're always late on their bills, that they barely make their payments half the time, and there's so much money bleeding out into these productions that they're going nuts. So, but yeah, Rob, or after Andre, tell us what you're going to say, and then Rob can tell us about this Warner Media.
Just quick answering Captain Robert April's question. Do you think the fortune Netflix paid for Discovery had factor in it all? No, not really. Because, yes, they paid a lot for Discovery. No, they weren't happy about it at all. But still, that was just one expense post among many. That one did not break the camel's back.
Right. But how much of this, though, is out of that? Because didn't they get this new line of credit is how they've been spending all this money?
Yeah, something like that. I haven't researched the details, so I can't comment on that just yet. But maybe in a future tutorial.
Right. So yeah, Rob, do you have this article, the Variety one?
But Friends staying on with.
Oh, you got that one?
Friends will stay on Netflix. Yeah, Friends will stay on Netflix throughout 2019, but there's a catch. You have at least one more year to hang out with the gang at Central Park. Oh, joy. Update. According to New York Times, Netflix will pay $100 million to stream Friends throughout 2019. The deal is non-exclusive. Leaving Warner Brothers the ability to add its series to the upcoming streaming service by 2020. The two companies are currently negotiating the rate Netflix will pay once that happens. And the possibility remains that the series could leave Netflix after next year. Okay, so they reserve the right to put on their
desperation on
I have no
Netflix's
idea.
part? Are they
Probably.
getting worried that everybody's leaving?
Yeah,
Well, all the Fox shows left.
Because that's what doesn't make sense to me. Like, I could understand paying such a fee if they were the only ones that got it. But Friends is still available everywhere, like even in Norway. Like, we just can't get rid of that damn thing.
I'm wishing we could get rid of it. I can't stand it anymore. And it's polluting other sitcoms.
Yeah, I never could stand it, but that was me. So yeah.
I used to watch it in the beginning, and then I just got absolutely sick of it, and I just said, okay, enough. And now, but it's polluting other sitcoms. Everybody's looking for everybody's looking for the next Friends. And I'm like, really? After it hasn't been on the air in 15 years. I'm like, you're still looking for and you're still wondering what the next Friends is going to be?
They found the next Friends. It was called The Big Bang Theory.
Exactly. So now they have to find a new Big Bang Theory.
Which they'll morph into Friends.
It did.
Well, yeah.
It started out okay, and then it pretty much morphed into Friends. Just Friends in a comic book shop.
Friends with nerds.
Yeah, basically.
My nerdy friends or whatever it is. Yeah. For God's sake. So anyway, let's move on. So
all right, well, I have this Warner deal here. 2019 is when it's coming. Warner Media is joining Disney in the race to launch a global direct-to-consumer streaming platform next year. Warner Media CEO John Stankey, whatever, still a bad name, unveiled the plan Wednesday during his address at the Vanity Fair Establishment Summit in Los Angeles. The new platform will be fronted by HBO with content from additional Warner Media brands bundled around that premium cable service. Stanky said. So there you go. Does that mean then they're going to be able to cross promote shit and do it that way, or are you going to buy bundles? I assume, and yeah, it's turning into cable again.
Yeah,
like we said it would.
Yeah,
we should have copyrighted Streaming Wars. So yeah, what do you think then the future is? Did we really kind of get to that already? We don't really know.
For the Marvel Netflix shows, yeah. I have no predictions at this time.
All right. Now, did you want to talk a little bit about Bumblebee before we go, Andre, and get to some questions? Or
I don't have too much to talk about other than about Bumblebee. Apparently, like, it's now been shown in the UK, and reports from the early screening is that it's a full-on reboot. That's what I'm getting so far, which I'm delighted to hear, because the movie looked too good to tie in with the Michael Bay movies. Just want to hear what you think about that, if that indeed is accurate, that Bumblebee is a reboot.
I've just heard rumors that it was a soft reboot. Rob, I mean, we really haven't reported on it too much.
No, we haven't really mentioned a whole lot. It looks closer to the OG, the Generation 1 Transformers. I mean, Optimus Prime actually looks like Optimus Prime, rather than than a bunch of spare parts thrown together. I don't know. I'm not really that interested in it. Tom?
I have more interest in it since they're going with the OG style, but there's been so much other stuff on our radar that this is one of those that really isn't on mine. So that's about it I have to say about that. I mean, the trailer looks okay. Some people it seems like it's getting a lot of goodwill because, like, I see people say, like, oh, Bumblebee looks awesome. Joker 79 says, I've heard a lot more people talk about it after the trailers have been coming out than they did before. So I think the interest is getting a little bit more interest than it had. But isn't it going up against Aquaman?
I think you're right, yeah.
As for me, I had absolutely zero interest in Bumblebee. Zero.
I'm right
until
right
I saw the trailer.
Oh.
Now I can't wait for it. That's all because of the G1 designs. But yeah,
I will say I'd rather see it than Aquaman.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's not saying a whole lot, Tom.
I
have less than zero interest in Sons of Aquamanarchy.
Yeah, it's Aqua Bro.
Yeah, I think that Aquaman is going to do really well, but that trailer that everyone is raving about, nice music, didn't win me over. But yeah, that's me.
It looks like a Pixar movie to me. There, I said it.
Yeah. Shall we move on and take some questions before we call it a day?
Because not many people get a lot of chances to talk to Andre. Let's try and get some questions directed towards him. Let's see.
Anyone, we're all equal here.
Well, yeah, but we always get to answer their questions. We don't get a lot of time with you, so if there's anything specific you want to ask Andre, feel free. Don't feel like you're leaving Rob and I out. So let's see. Rob, you want to take this or?
Well, hang on a second.
Let's see, I'm looking.
Bring up the chat.
Yeah. While we're looking, why don't Rob or Andre? Why don't you talk a little bit about Judge Dredd?
Yes, Judge Dredd.
I'm Rob get some questions.
Yeah, I promised to do that, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Judge Dredd, and he's certainly among my top 3 favorite comic book characters of all time. I absolutely loved the movie Dredd, and I'm eagerly anticipating the Judge Dredd series, even if Judge Dredd is not going to be the main star of it. Probably it's going to be like this ensemble show. The most recent news on that is that Rebellion has bought this massive studio lot in England. So now there's a Rebellion Studios, like a proper soundstage, where they will be filming the Rogue Trooper movie. But I also believe that they'll probably be filming the Judge Dredd series there, that there is where they're going to build the permanent sets. And we haven't heard anything about a network or streaming service or anything actually buying the series yet, but still that's a huge step that they bought this big locale. That's a massive boost of confidence that they're going to get this made. So all well on the Judge Dredd front so far.
Okay. All right. So let's we got a question from Shenyango the Dragon Slayer. Any thoughts on Netflix getting the exclusive streaming rights to Neon Genesis Evangelion, making it legally available outside of Japan for the first time in a long time? I'm not a fan, so it really doesn't affect me either way. I tried watching it. I was like, okay, this is okay. I guess people are into it. So, what do you guys think? I don't know if you're fans of any of it, or
not particularly, Andre.
No, not really. I have never been into anime to any particular degree. Any thoughts on Netflix getting the exclusive streaming rights? I'm really happy for the fans that there is a legal way of watching it outside of Japan. So for those of you who are fans, congratulations. I'm really happy for you. To me, it's less important where it is, as long as there is a way to see it legally. If Netflix gave fans that a way of seeing it, then kudos and to Netflix for that.
Right.
Okay.
Before you go to the next question, Rob, hang on to the question. Lokta wanted to, he clarified what he was saying to me earlier. How many white Americans want to look like Asians? This is why movies made for Asian market will not work. Okay, well, there's that point, I guess, but
Okay.
I looked at it more as, you guys get to see, how many hundreds of movies a year with Asian stars. So, of course, when you want to see an American movie, you want to see, it's like me wanting to see an Asian movie and to see an American star in an Asian movie. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, what was the question then? The next question, Rob?
Well, anyway, there's just a point to that is that I know there was a guy who used to host the pub quiz I used to go to, and we were talking about movies, and he said, that's the draw of watching a big Hollywood movie, that you get to see big Hollywood stars. He said if I wanted to watch a movie from the UK, he'd watch a movie from the UK. So anyway, so there's that. It sort of feeds into that. We're saying, okay, so anyway, The Demon's Reflection. Are there any concrete plans for Midnight's Edge in 2019? Yes. I
hope so.
I hope so.
There is, but we're not ready to disclose them yet,
Yes.
because we still have some work to do before we can get there.
I will battle Andre for the leadership role in Trial by Combat. That's the plan. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go Holmgang, which is the Viking way of doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Andre's gonna kick my ass.
I saw that OG Spock Club had a question. Do you have SJWs in Norway or anything equivalent? The second statement is correct. The anything equivalent we do have. We do not have SJWs of the kind that you have in America. The only ones we have of those are literally American expatriates. Equivalent that we absolutely do have. You have many people here that are very left-leaning, and that's the same basic mindset of the SJWs in America, but it takes on a slightly different form. The ones that we have, I guess, would be closer to Antifa, a little bit more aggressive, and without necessarily being aware of it themselves, they are very much against freedom of speech. Only tonight in Oslo, when I walked home from work, I walked past a demonstration, because right now you have the UN, which in a couple of days in Marrakesh are going to sign a charter. I don't remember the name in English, but that's going to give increased rights to refugees, not to refugees, but to immigrants, to widen the definition of what is an immigrant and make it easier for immigrants to travel to all of Europe and to settle and get more benefits from the state, while the media has to tone down their critical comments. That's basically the summary of it. And just today there was a demonstration against this from a variety of people. Some are very right-wing, some less so right-wing, and then you have the counter-demonstration from parties that are literally called the Socialist Left and Red Alliance, and they are the aggressing ones, shouting people to go home and chanting "no racists in our streets" and "be quiet and keep your opinion to yourself and get out of here." That's the kind that we have there. A little bit more aggressive, but not of the variety that you have in America.
Yeah, that's a we have
The
types that try to shove.
Again, it's not a topic that I will ever get into in Midnight's Edge, but since you asked.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for addressing that, though. Okay, Arizona Underdog Crew, what do you think of Sabrina the Teenage Witch? I used to like it as a guilty pleasure back in the 90s when Melissa Joan Hart and Caroline Rhea were on it. Caroline Rhea's a very funny stand-up comedian. What do you I haven't seen the new series. What do you guys think?
I haven't seen the new series, but I think Caroline Rhea is very easy on the eyes as well.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with Sabrina and Incarnation. I know it started with an Archie comic, and it's gotten plenty TV series and stuff after that, but I'm not familiar. Well, I think I saw a couple of episodes of the Melissa Joan Hart, the one with the kitty and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool and innocent enough. The new one, I really don't know anything about, so I cannot comment.
Yeah, they wanted to go dark and gritty with this new one, so yeah. All right, Chris Persa.
Sabrina. Why did you say that name?
I voted. Yes, thank you, Ben Affleck. Chris Parsa, Andre, which of the previously owned Fox property team would you prefer to see appear next in the MCU and why?
Fantastic Four, because that's where the Marvel Universe started, and they have the best library of cosmic characters, including the villain Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Quick answer.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Okay. Okay. From Guy Veri. Apart from Judge Dredd and Rogue Trooper, what other 2000 AD characters would you like to see them to see? I'm a huge fan of Johnny Alpha and Strontium Dog.
Honestly, I'm not too familiar with them. Sorry. I'm a fan of Judge Dredd, which I first got introduced to in Norwegian anthology magazines. These magazines, such as Magnum and Exni Special, they didn't carry any of the other series in 2000 AD, so I'm not that familiar with them. If I were to guess just based on appearance alone, ABC Warriors. But again, I'm not too familiar with the series. But based on Hammerstein in the 1995 movie, plus the appearance, ABC Warriors would be my default answer.
Well, not to plug our Patreon, but you go into a little bit about how comics are different over there than they are here on our Patreon in a video, mostly about Spider-Man, but it is the unique differences that are kind of like, so because you don't get like full sets and stuff. I think you were saying too at one point and stuff like that, where you had to seek out to find, like you said, that like it would be in different order and stuff in the compilation, so you had to jump around or something like that, wasn't it, Andre?
You fell out for a second there. Could you repeat that?
I was just saying, you were saying how different it was over there to try and collect, entire stories and sets of comic books and stuff like that. Because, like, didn't you even say like one of the sets was even out of order?
Oh yes, absolutely. That was like back in the 80s with Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk. Back when Atlantic were doing the local reprints, they did them completely out of order. Like, for instance, of a 2-part story, they could print part 2 before part 1 easily. But that never happened with Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd had like a limited shelf life as a standalone title, where they reprinted the Eagle comics to colorize ones, but other than that, it was just appearances in other magazines before the case files became available. And that's where I became a huge fan, and why I became a fan of Dredd without being a fan of 2000 AD. It's not that I don't like 2000 AD, I'm just not that familiar with it.
Okay, let's go on to a couple more questions here. We had a question about where was it? Oh, from CD Horde, Andre, what do you think the future of Star Trek is now? That's a loaded question. That's going to require a huge answer.
I cannot answer right now in this second, because there are huge things happening behind the scenes as we speak. Like, I learned of something huge today, and I mean massive, that happened behind the scenes. I cannot go into more detail about it because I don't have the detail to cover it, just not yet. When we learn how things are starting to settle, it's going to be in a mini documentary, so pay attention to that. But the world of Star Trek is undergoing huge changes right now. Are those changes good or bad? Cannot say. I would have to say that in the short term, the future of Star Trek doesn't look great. In the long term, it depends on how things are going to play out over the next weeks and months.
Okay. All right. The Demon's Reflection. Andre, are there any Norwegian properties you'd like to see get adapted into Hollywood features?
Yeah. There are a number of Norwegian properties that I absolutely would like to see developed into features. If they are suitable for American features, that of course is a different question altogether. I don't think so.
Mm.
I cannot think of a single Norwegian property that. Well, you have things from history. Of course, you have that. You have like events in history. You have like some stories from World War II. You have some explorers that went to extremes in the world. You have some stories from the Viking era, stuff like that. Those are things from history that would make for great movies. But of like Norwegian comics and stuff like that, no, I can't think of a single one that would be suitable for American adaptation. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. There was actually a movie based on the Kon-Tiki expedition that was actually played pretty well over here.
Yeah,
A little while back.
that's a movie that I actually found a little bit disappointing because of the creative choices and how they created tension by making one guy on the raft a villain when he wasn't in reality, just for the purpose of creating drama.
Yeah.
Those were the same directors that went on to direct the previous Pirates of the Caribbean movie, actually.
I'm just amazed that they actually did. When I saw the raft, I was like, they crossed the ocean on that thing. You got to be kidding me! that was amazing.
Yeah.
So I would take one. I would have taken one look at the raft. Nope. See you later.
And speaking of Star Trek, because it was brought up earlier, this is one of my new favorite memes now.
Oh god! And actually, Captain Robert Abel says, "How scared is CBS over the lawsuit?"
Yeah, Andre, you haven't really got to comment too much on the lawsuit. What's your feelings on that?
I'm not a lawyer. I think that it's going to. I think it's going to go away, but not without money changing hands behind the scenes first. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to derail them in a major way. But who can say? Like, the courts are free. CBS can't control that. So impossible to say.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for the question, Mr. Captain Robert April. Mr. Twisted72. Andre, what do you think of the show Vikings?
Love it. Absolutely love it. And the cool thing is that it's based on actual history. It's the same people that made the series about Henry VIII before, the Tudors. And they've taken that same love of history and brought that with them into the series. Of course, the records are a little bit sketchy, but many of the characters there, like Ivar the Boneless and King Rollo, all of these are historical figures. And also Ragnar Lothbrok himself and his eventual fate. This is all recorded history. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I greatly enjoy that series. The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that it's filmed in Ireland and not in Norway. The people to blame for that are the Norwegian Cultural Department at the time, because they refused to give the incentives necessary to have the series filmed on location in Norway. For that reason, the series filmed in Ireland instead. That's like the one thing that I am not a fan of, because as a Norwegian, you can really tell this nature is not Norwegian nature.
Yeah, a lot of tax breaks go into determining where they're in the film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Couple more questions. If I miss a few questions, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up with this as best I can.
Well, I was gonna say, how much time do you have left, Andre?
No, we can keep going for a while yet.
All right.
Okay, let's see. CD Horde, how does Andre like the Minnesota Vikings? Seriously, has Andre visited the U.S.?
Minnesota Vikings is something that I'm aware of the existence of. Is it football? Is it ice hockey?
That's what Mecca calls sports ball.
It's American football.
Yeah.
It's American football.
Sports ball.
Yeah, that I have to even ask that question of which sport it is. That probably tells you how big a fan I am. Again, I don't like it. I'm just not familiar with it. Have I ever been to America? Yes, I've been to America twice. I was in America the first time for 1 whole month in the summer of 1995. Back then, I was just like in my early teens. I went there with my family, and we would visit basically every place from New York down to Florida and back again, and we stayed extra long in Virginia and at Virginia Beach while my father was temporarily in Camp Lejeune, I believe it was, because he was in the army at the time. And we were also a lot in North Carolina because there's also, I forgot the name of the base, but there's a military base there too. So yeah, that was an amazing vacation. And the second time I was in America was earlier this year. If you go to my Facebook page, I documented the trip right there actually. That was a trip with my friends, with my wolf pack, where we went to Vegas, and then we road tripped to LA, to West Hollywood, and we stayed there, and it was awesome.
Mm. Would that basement would have been Fort Bragg?
I don't think so.
Okay, there's a couple of them. There's Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, Fort Bragg Base Support in Unit Elizabeth City, and Camp Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune, that's the one. Camp
Camp
Lejeune.
Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's based out of yeah. Actually, you'd probably like Minnesota, Andre. It's actually they say I was in Minneapolis back in '93.
Don't lie to him.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of Scandinavian. Oh yeah, a lot of Scandinavian people, as Tom would attest to, from in that part of the U.S., who moved there because it's just as cold.
I was gonna say it would be kind of pointless.
Yeah,
I'm sure not only like Norway, but it's like the boring parts of Norway.
Yeah, that's kind of like the running joke. You had like the immigrants from Norway traveling to America back in the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th century. Decided like Norway is a hellhole. Let's get the hell away from this cold, frostbitten place and everything. And then they went to America and they found Minnesota. This is fantastic. It's just like home. We're going to settle here. So
yeah. Justice. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They got to the East Coast. They figured there's something better, so they kept going. And they settled someplace just as cold. Okay. Andre, well, okay, what do you think of the new She-Ra, Andre? Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet. My initial thought is that I just basically decided it's not for me. I don't like the animation style or anything, but it's not made for me. It's made for a new generation of girls. And so I'm not in the target audience, and that's fine. And all of the opinions that I would have had otherwise, I'm going to keep to myself because I'm not the target audience.
Yeah.
That being said, I have a daughter that in a couple of years is going to be in that target audience. And I've been hearing some things about the implied philosophy and moral of the series that are questionable, which I don't know if it's accurate, but I've just only like heard things. I haven't researched it properly. So maybe I will have something to say about it down the line. But at the time of, as of right now, it's not for me, it's for another audience, and as such, I shall reserve my judgment. That's my answer on She-Ra for the time being.
Okay. Let me see. OG Spock Love wants to know if you're a werewolf. I don't think so.
Not that I'm aware of.
No. It's nighttime over there. He's obviously still speaking to us. So.
Yeah.
He's not eating raw meat in the corner. Okay. Let's see. We got any more questions? Let's see.
I did throw some older ones in the chat there if you need them.
Yeah.
If there are any others,
I think we might have missed a super chat earlier. If we did, I apologize. Jess Reed gave us another $2 and said MEAD is my OG YouTube channel. I don't remember if we got that one or not, but
no, I don't think we did.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But all right, go ahead, Rob.
Oh, Blue Cat 42. Pros and cons of living in Norway.
That really depends on who you are. I would say that that the pro is that Everything is safe here. Most places are fairly safe. It's a safe country. And utilities and like infrastructure, not necessarily for roads, but infrastructure for electricity and for internet and for water and like basic needs like that is absolutely fantastic. Like some of the best in the world. Like the Voss water that is sold at a premium in America and around the world, that's our tap water. Literally, I'm not joking. That's the water that's from the tap in Bergen. That's Voss water. And so the water is the cleanest in the world. Electricity, internet, all fantastic. And also if you break a leg or something like that, you'll just go straight to the doctor and you'll be patched up, no charge whatsoever. It's completely free health service. Is the health service good? That's another question, but it's all free. Same with higher education. University level is also completely free. Not business schools and stuff, which you do, private universities. Those you have to pay for, but like the public universities, free. You can get a doctorate without paying anything other than the cost of books. The price for all of this is that you are taxed to death in every level. Like the times I've been to America, and I heard like Americans complain about the price of gasoline and of tax and stuff like that, and I see what they pay compared to what we pay. I don't know whether to laugh or cry, because the Norwegian VAT is 25% on everything, and the tax level is also depends on what you earn, but generally it's between 30% up to 50%. For everyone, so you do pay a hefty price tag for living there. Another good thing is that it's fairly well connected. It's very easy to travel to many other places. Like if you go into the car and you drive any direction other than just straight north or south, because the country really extends long, then you'll be in another country. Like if I want to be in tomorrow, if I decide tomorrow morning that this afternoon I want to be anywhere in Europe, you can. So yeah, like infrastructure and possibilities, healthcare, those things are awesome things about it. Price level, not so much. And yeah, those,
that's cool, because I have to plan just to get milk.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the best milk in the world.
Well, no, I just being.
Yeah.
I remember when I was over there. I was
potato
like,
crisps.
Yeah, I remember when I was over there. Like the water, like you said, the cleanest water. The water is, I was like, the water is great. even in Oslo, the water. I mean, I had a cut on my hand. It healed up nicely just by after I took a shower. It was incredible.
Oh, Oslo water is fantastic.
I mean, you people have the fountain of youth, and you're hiding it for yourselves. So,
yeah, well, I don't know about that, because that fountain of youth is like undone by the winters, which really ages and makes your skin rugged and everything. The water is great.
The other advantage of Norway, I have to say, I've seen it firsthand. Lots of tall blonde women, so that's always a good plus, no matter where you go.
Yeah, this is true. So and I noticed that when I travel, just like the difference in people, and not just women but also men too, and like the average height and average build also changes when you travel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have those dominant Italian genes. I'm only 5'7", and that's on a good day. So anyway, enough about that. Okay. Have you eaten lutefisk? Well, lutefisk.
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 Lutefisk. That's the lutefisk. That is fish that has been treated in, I think it's called lye. It's kind of in English. It's kind of an acid, and what it does is that it makes it gives the fish the consistency of jelly. So it becomes almost see-through and really tasteless, and you eat it alongside bacon, which is cooked and served with boiled butter that you put on top of it, plus boiled potatoes, because we have potatoes and everything. I've only eaten it a couple of times. The first time I tried it, it's something of an acquired taste. It's not like the children love it or something. It's an acquired taste. The first time I tried it, I couldn't make my mind up about it. So I had the first serving, and then I had to have a little bit of another, and then it took half an hour before I was able to make up my mind. I fucking hate this, and I've only had it like a couple of times since, so it's not for me.
Okay, so anyway, actually, there's a question we had actually about. We were talking about this a little bit before the show. What is Andre's take on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and what are his expectations for the upcoming Spider-Verse movies?
The animation, I think, is going to be fine. I was actually kind of like intrigued with the little clip we saw at the end of Venom. As for the live action Spider-Verse, I'm not excited for it at all. I think that the Venom movies are going to be good, but other than that, I think it's gonna crash and burn pretty fastly, unless they have like this miracle way of doing Morbius the living vampire and Silver and Black, and the female-centric movie I think is back on, unless they have really, really learned their lessons. And they do a masterful job of hiring the right directors, then maybe Sony can do a better job than Marvel. Maybe if Marvel have lost the plot and Sony are like learning where Marvel was, maybe they're gonna do good. But if I had to bet right now, I think it's gonna crash and burn sooner rather than later.
All right. And we did have a super chat, $1 from Arizona Underdog Crew before.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. Anything else? What else we got here?
So I did throw a few in there. I don't know which ones you've done already here.
Okay. Captain Able, they're gonna treat Hulu not so family friendly. Touchstone. We name it Touchstone. Oh, that's actually if they're gonna treat Hulu if Hulu like Touchstone, not so family friendly stuff. Maybe they'll just rename it Touchstone.
Oh, I see a question. Nigel4579 writes, Andre, who or what is buried in your garden? Actually, I don't have a garden because the house is built directly on the mountain underneath, so no garden. Which is a rock
garden.
Yeah,
literally.
I look straight into the mountainside with the woods and everything, so that's pretty fantastic.
What did Andre think on the Thing prequel from 2011? Asks Destiny Captain.
Oh, that's a cool question, because that prequel starred Team Norway. It had like a pure Norwegian cast, but to make it accessible to Americans, you had some American characters with that Norwegian crew. The prequel movie basically is like you see the Norwegians in the beginning of the original The Thing. The prequel was the story about how they got to that point. I thought that the movie was it wasn't that bad. Like the cast is really good, the ones that were in it. I was a little bit distracted by the Americans in it because they were like so obviously misplaced. But I don't hate the movie like so many others do. I thought it was pretty okay. I don't love it, but yeah, it was okay. Nothing more than that.
Okay. Thank you for the question. Let's see what else we got here.
Blue Cat 42 asks, goofy question, do you ever yodel into the mountains?
That's the one I posted in the chat just
no, because we're not Swiss.
Jess Reed says my solo rant was for the ages. I'm like, no, that was Tom's solo rant, actually.
Yeah, that was Tom. It I agree. It sounded like it should have been Rob.
Right.
That's why it was so fantastic, because it was Tom so completely out of character. and it was amazing. Fun story is like, because Tom, you originally made that rant for Midnight's Edge After Dark, didn't you?
Correct.
And then I heard it and I said, you know what? No, this goes on the main. This is so funny that it goes on the main. So yeah,
I was like, fuck that movie. I was pissed.
Yeah, that's the best review we ever did on Midnight's Edge or on Midnight's Edge. I have to say.
Maybe that's why I haven't reviewed many movies since, other than Roundtables. I don't know if I could top that.
Yeah. I have a review of Solo on my own channel. You can see that there. I'm not complimentary to it. Yeah.
Yours is pretty good too.
Yeah. Only pretty good. Yeah. Okay.
No, yours is it was a little late. That's all.
Yeah.
I think it took me a while.
Well, yeah, because I always tell people we don't get early access to anything.
No.
Andre gets early access just by geography.
Where they release it early. Yeah, we were talking about this last night. We don't get much love from anywhere else, so no.
And we won't. Captain Robert April, why won't Mads Mikkelsen play Doom?
Yeah, I believe that's a follow-up to the Demon's reflection earlier up, since Mats Mikkelsen is likely never going to play Doctor Doom unless there's some alternate universe stuff brought into the MCU. Is there anyone you want to take the role? I'm sure there is, but I can't think of anyone right
Andre.
now.
Yeah, just to do the voice anyway.
Yeah, many people say that. I'd be up for that.
I'll go to my standby answer, Norm Macdonald. Reed Richards. How you doing?
You know who I would if we can't have Mats Mikkelsen, who is the one who would be perfect for Doctor Doom. And why Mats can't play Doom, Captain Robert April. Well, that would be because he was already in Doctor Strange, where he was completely wasted on the guy with the eyes. But if we can't have Mats, then I would say that they should go casting and find an Indian to play the role. And the reason I say that is because if you could look at the comics, Doctor Doom is supposed to be a gypsy. And the gypsy, meaning the Roma that come from Central Europe, they're descendant from Indians. And so that would be true to the character. Find someone who can be noble, but can also pass ethnically for a gypsy. Or a Roma, which I guess is the more politically correct term. That would have my vote.
Okay, all right. Plot twist: Andre, Robb, and Tom are the same person with different voices.
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage.
Oh wait, no, he was already in the MCU. Fuck. No. Actually, to be honest, my other next choice after Mikkelsen, or just in that same league, would have been Cumberbatch, who already is Doctor Strange, and then after that. Already. Yeah, so it's like everybody that I would pick is like, so I guess I don't know. You'd have to pick. Here's the thing. Most of the time, a nobody is okay for most superheroes and villains, or at least somebody that's not like totally, a bad actor or anything, but you can find a level to where they're a mid-level actor. Certain villains sometimes just cry out for a major actor to play that heavy. So since the best choices are already used, it's tough to pick a choice to play that character because he is arguably probably the greatest villain in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one.
Yeah. So I would say they have to do what they did with Tom Hiddleston. They went and they found a no-name actor that none of us had ever heard about before, but who was perfect.
That's a good example.
That's what they need to do with Doctor Doom, I think. If we can't have Mikkelsen, you need to do the second best thing. And that's someone that we're going to instantly accept.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston, actually, he auditioned for the part of Thor, but they told him, no, listen, we're not going to cast you as Thor, but we have this other part for you. How would you like to be Loki? And then he said, okay, fine. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
He really owned that, yeah.
Have you seen his Thor audition?
No, actually, I haven't seen the screen test. No,
he didn't own that.
Oh, well, like I said, he's more suited. And actually, it was actually the same. It was the same circumstance with Sebastian Stan. He auditioned to be Captain America. He says, "Listen, we don't want you for Captain America, but we have another part for you." So So maybe the next guy maybe the guy who auditions for Reed to play Reed Richards, maybe they'll say to him, "Hey, we're not going to want you as Reed Richards, but we have another part for you." So maybe that'll be the case this time.
The most famous one though is when they went to Schwarzenegger and wanted to play Reese, and he's like, "No, I want to play the robot. That would be better for me."
Yeah. He was so right about that, wasn't he?
Exactly. History made.
Yeah. Okay.
That movie would have sucked if he was Reese.
Oh my god!
It totally would have sucked. Because there's no way. Just see like Linda Hamilton like being all over this guy. I'm sorry. There's no way.
Think of how bad it would have been if O.J. Simpson was actually the Terminator.
Oh god. Would have been scary, eerily ironic, of course, but
yeah.
I think it was just as well that he stayed in Police Squad. But,
right?
Yeah. I see that Aurora has another question. Have you properly gunned it anybody then, Andre? So I see that Aurora must have used Google Translate or done some reading. I can only imagine that by gunned it, she means gunding, which is basically Sami witchcraft. I'm not a Sami, so no, I haven't.
Okay, Sami, they're the indigenous people in northern Sweden, right?
Yes, northern Sweden, northern Norway, and northern Russia. Basically, it's like you have like this strip of land where the Sami fare. That doesn't care too much about national borders because they were there before the national borders became what they were. So that's the indigenous population, and they have their own black magic, which I'm not familiar with. So no gunding in my end.
Okay, all right, alrighty. All right, let's see what else we got here. Anything else before we wrap this up, or let me see. I'm not seeing. Come on, lay it on us, guys. Come on.
One more question: with Disney completing its murder.
It might very well be murder.
Everything. I need to learn how to read. Its merger with Fox next year. What does the studio landscape look like when the studios, and which studios to y'all? I think it means do y'all think will be the next acquired? Andre, you first.
Next acquired. Has Lionsgate been acquired yet?
I don't think so.
No. Well, they've acquired stuff, but I don't know. I think Paramount or not so much Sony anymore, but Paramount has really kind of been.
No, because like of the majors or many majors, Lionsgate would be the natural fit. I don't think that anyone else is going to sell anytime soon because they're all affiliated with some other larger company. All of them are except for Lionsgate. And that's like the thing. Universal aren't going to be sold anywhere because they're owned by Comcast. Warner won't be sold anywhere because they're owned by AT&T. Sony is owned by Sony. And unless a disaster happens, they're not likely to sell anytime soon either. And that kind of like leaves Lionsgate with the possible well, there's Paramount then, of course.
That's what I'm saying. And Lionsgate, as far as I understand, it's actually a Canadian company, and they're pretty big up there. Yeah. Unless somebody can tell me otherwise in the chat. So there's the differences. Even though they may not have such a presence here, I think they're like one of the bigger companies up there, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my guess.
Because they just bought up the Miramax deal, didn't they?
I don't know. That was bought up by someone else. If they're affiliated with Lionsgate, I don't know.
Well, I know they still have the catalog.
Yeah, it's not that straightforward. Okay. I have to research the situation.
Because I can't remember. I think I can't remember. I think they might have something to do with distributing Halloween, but I have to check. I can't remember who's. Maybe no, that's Universal. Never mind. But I think they're still affiliated through the Miramax deal. That's where I was thinking that. But anyway, go ahead. Next question.
Okay.
There was another one from Aurora up there. But we kind of answered this sort of. But do you want Doctor Doom as the villain for the first proper FF movie, or are there other choices you guys would see instead? And there's nothing wrong with building a character up through a couple movies and then having them like take full form as a bad guy later down the road. I don't mind that sometimes. Rob?
No, don't make Doom the villain right away.
Yeah, it's kind of like blowing your load right off the bat.
I agree. He should be built up a little bit more Thanos style.
Make him the big bad of Phase 4.
Exactly.
True, like, we're thinking small in just one movie. Yeah, make him the big, huge centerpiece. Go on. Sorry, Andre.
Yeah, like it would be better with Annihilus and the Negative Zone. I think would be a better starting point, or even the Mole Man.
Galactus maybe would be.
Yeah, Galactus
would be another good big bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think. Well, and that's the thing is, I think that's one of Feige's favorites is Galactus. So I have a feeling we're going to see him sooner than later too.
Yeah.
All right.
C. Jones has a question. He or she, I don't know, had a Swedish friend. He said Norwegians were the drunk hicks of the North. What do you think of the Swedes?
So they're from Wisconsin?
Let's say that when your Swedish friend says that Norwegians are the drunk hicks of the North, he's not entirely wrong. Yeah, I'm happy to say that.
Andre, I'll give it to you straight.
Yeah, the Norwegians are, of all the Scandinavian countries, the Norwegians are. You're familiar with that series, the Beverly Hillbillies? Like hillbillies that happen to strike oil.
Oh yeah,
that's the Norwegians. That's what we are.
We got cement ponds
out shooting at some food.
Yeah, but I'm not even joking here. Like many Norwegians, they don't like some certain truths and everything, but I have no issues saying things the way they are. If you go to Sweden and to Denmark, you're going to have this amazing history, not just from the Viking era, but in the Middle Ages. You have the castles and the kings and the queens and this really fascinating history, and even today you have these massive castles and everything. You know what we had in Norway during that time? We were first 400 years under Danish rule and then 100 years under Swedish rule, and during that time we were peasants. Peasants that got by probably on alcohol and everything like that. You're not going to find a single castle during in Norwegian history. Like we had it pretty good during the Viking Age, and then it's just darkness and nothingness and hillbillies and peasants right up until like basically the modern era. And the country didn't really do good until we found oil in the 60s. So yeah, it's true, and that's kind of like part of the culture. The Norwegians are the least posh and the least civilized, if you will. You have a massive difference in culture between the Danes and the Swedes and the Norwegians. It's true. What do I think about the Swedes? I love the Swedes. Swedes are awesome. Swedes are great, friendly people. Really professional, really service-minded. There was a time during the early 2000s when Oslo was filled with Swedes, because the Norwegian economy generally is better than the Swedish one. And so loads of Swedish youth, they came to Oslo and they worked in cafes and in stores in all kind of service industries. And then the economy recovered in Sweden and they went back again, and we really miss them because Swedes are awesome. Yeah, so I have nothing but nice things to say about Swedes and about Danes.
I like that. That's one that the media and the politicians haven't picked up yet, to refer to certain people as service-minded. I can see that being a coin word. I know it's not to get into like political bullshit.
Yeah. But it's true.
I've never heard it before.
Yeah. But you know, like what the difference is? Like, for instance, if you go to a restaurant and the waiter is Norwegian, then he or she will not always, but very often have like this atmosphere of, don't think that I'm any worse than you just because I'm serving you. You have like kind of like this air of that, not terribly service-minded, but with the Swede, it's just so super bubbly and cheerful, and everything is awesome. And also dealing with Swedes in business. Because
I
my
just see
day
him
job
using it as a
is in
label to get
banking,
away
and
with
there.
saying something racist, is what I was getting at. Sorry.
No, we're you can't say anything racist against the Swede when you're Norwegian.
No. I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
And I'm not, like I said, I don't want to get political, but I said I'm surprised that that's a buzzword they haven't picked up on yet to refer to certain groups of people or races of people. Actually, I should say.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I have to say, I think it's there. It's just like implied and not spoken out loud.
Right. Well, it's like they're always thinking of these new buzzwords to basically be racist without sounding racist, and that just sounds like one of those words that they would use.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting to be clear.
Yeah. OG Spock Love, what do you think of Americans?
I like Americans. You have many Eurotrash that are going to say that they hate Americans, but they're just poorly educated Eurotrash that will say that. A more reflected answer is that people are different. You're going to have assholes everywhere. You're going to have great people everywhere. You're going to have incompetent buffoons everywhere, and you're going to have really smart people everywhere. And in America, you have all of that. America is a fantastic, diverse place where you have a huge difference in culture between states, and you also have enormous differences in people. I don't think that you can like generalize on a whole people, but if I had to, I would call Americans very friendly and by and large open-minded. I've never had like a bad experience with an American myself. All the Americans I've had dealings with have been great people, and of course you have like some people that are very proud of their ignorance. But again, you have that everywhere.
I'm afraid of Americans.
That's David Bowie, yeah.
Demon's Reflection has a good question. Speaking of David Bowie, I know there's a real loose connection, but because of Under Pressure. Andre, did you see Bohemian Rhapsody, and or what do you think about the music of Queen? I kind of know the answer as a Queen fan because I've already kind of talked to you a little bit about this, but tell the audience what you think and what you
I have not yet seen Bohemian Rhapsody. It's on my list of things to do right after I see Creed 2. I am a huge fan of the music of Queen.
All right. And yes, that's another one I want to see at Creed 2, and it's not because I haven't wanted to, it's just because I haven't had the fucking time. But I loved Bohemian Rhapsody, surprisingly. So there you go. And I don't think Rob's seen it yet. Rob doesn't get to the theater.
No, not a whole lot. I get dragged kicking and screaming a lot of times.
Or you're made to go.
Yes. Last time you guys made me see a movie, it was Solo. Damn it.
Solo, you never want to go.
We all know how that turned out. Yeah. So, what else? I was about to say, what do you think Americans will see? Thanks. Andre, what do you think will be gateway food for an American visiting Norway?
Gateway food? Well, like a stepping stone from American to Norwegian food. I think that if you went to Norway, you'd actually be surprised at how many people love our pizzas and tacos and kebabs and stuff like that, and how few actually eat like more of the traditional Norwegian things. The gateway, I think, would probably be this snack. The kind of like potato crisp called Smash. It's been like covered on the Fine Brothers and everything like that, where people like try things. It's like a unique thing that I think would translate really well. Other than like Norwegian steaks of like both pork and beef, and the more exotic ones like moose, I think would go down really well. Like we don't really have that many really weird things, and the ones that we do have, we don't even eat as a general thing.
From what I remember, Italian is a big cuisine. Yeah, not just pizza, just regular Italian food. Like whatever.
Oh yeah,
Parmesan.
yeah,
Eggplant
absolutely.
parmesan, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for food and stuff like that, we're huge on Italian, Asian, Mexican. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, so
You're
it's
gonna,
pretty much like what's over here then.
yeah, you're not
Yeah.
gonna. In Oslo, I only know of like 2 or 3 places where you can even like find like more traditional Norwegian food.
Yeah, and CD Horde, you are right. There is that other problem. Rob is banned from a lot of theaters too.
Big mistake selling beer in the movie theaters now.
This movie's a fucking joke. Settle down, sir. Settle down.
Don't you know who I am? I'm from Midnight's Edge, damn it.
I am the voice of Midnight Edge.
I am the narrator supreme, and you will show some damn respect, motherfucker.
You know what? Go to a Star Trek convention or a Star Trek screening and scream that there and see what happens.
Oh God, we'd never see Rob again.
I'd have to record from an undisclosed location, like witness protection.
Buried on page 10 of the local paper of wherever the convention is. YouTube quasi celebrity Rob Robot Shlomo Callow disappears at last Star Trek convention.
Let's see. Let's do one or two more questions before we call it the night.
Yeah, it's about supper time here.
Asks, Andre, is moose like venison? A little. They taste very different, but a little bit. I don't know how to describe the taste of moose. The only thing that I can say that moose tastes like, I know I'm going to get shit for this. I've only tasted it 2 or 3 times in my life, but moose tastes a little bit like whale. That's the only thing that I can possibly compare it to.
Because Norway was one of the countries. Well, it was one of the countries that still had commercial whaling.
Oh, we still do. I'm not defending it.
And
I'm
of course,
not
nobody
proud
can
of it
compare it really here
at all.
Hey, you see this? Yeah. You see the shit our country does. Let me tell you.
Yeah, we're not innocent in that sense, but at least there's no way. Unless I didn't know about it, I wasn't tasting whale.
Let's just say that I am not at all in favor of whaling, and I wish that we didn't do it. I really wish that we didn't, but it still goes on. But it's regulated. It's heavily regulated, and it's very strict quotas. So the population of whales is maintained, but of course I would rather that it was completely banned. To me, it's a national disgrace that we still allow whaling, and the meat isn't even that good.
The Too Late Show says, did anything happen with getting a Dread show? Actually, we covered that.
The Dread show is still in development.
Rebellion just purchased the studio.
So it's pretty much imminent that we'll get something.
Yeah. Oh, well, I hope so. Because because they bought it doesn't mean that they've sold it.
And
true.
And Rebellion is big in video games, so I imagine they're going to be using the studio space for motion capture and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, when they have the studio, they can use it for everything. So I'm sure that's going to be used for multi-purpose and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just hope it's not on JJ Abrams' radar at the moment.
Okay. And Andre, I promise next time I'm in Walmart, I will buy Dread for $5. I promise.
Oh, that sounds good.
Actually, I watch it again. It's not bad. It's not as bad as I.
For not buying that much.
Yeah, on Blu-ray too. Even.
Not only just. You disappoint me, Rob.
CD Horde, did you like Carl Urban as Dread?
Who doesn't?
He was perfect in the role. No one could be better.
He was amazing. Made me forget all about Sly.
Yep. All right. let's see what else we got here before we have to
Which
wrap
I
it
love
up.
Sylvester Stallone, but I'm sure
I am
Andre
the
agrees with me that movie was.
I am the law. Let's see what else we got here. Come on, guys, make come with some good ones.
Well, he did the second question, but did you want to do one more?
I can do a couple more. I see here a great one. OG Spocklove. Show everyone in Norway Star Trek 4, Free Willy and Willette. Star Trek has never been that huge in Norway, apart from a small niche of which I'm part. But it's funny you should mention Free Willy. You know what happened with the whale, with the killer whale that actually portrayed Willy in Free Willy?
Was it named Coco or something like that?
Keiko.
Keiko.
There you go.
Kaiko or
Keiko.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They spent millions retraining it and releasing it in the wild around Greenland.
I remember this.
And unfortunately, Keiko had grown so accustomed to people that it sought refuge in a harbor, and it chose Norway, and it chose the harbor of whaling country number one.
Oh no!
I remember seeing this story.
Don't remember, don't fret just yet. Although the local whalers, they were very, very clear that we've never get a whale that actually comes to us, and basically is such an easy target. So please give us this extra thing. Let's kill this one. It's going to be great food. But no, that wasn't allowed. Instead, what happened was like the local people loved it because they went swimming and playing with them and everything. So the Kaiko was happy there, and the locals were happy there. He was fed, he was taken care of, and yeah, it was seemingly a happy story until he died of natural causes.
Oh,
well, that's a happy story at least.
Well, yeah, well, at least, yeah.
I remember seeing a video of him in the water there.
Well, it was pneumonia, which whales can get, but yeah, so that was it was brought on by nature itself and not by Norwegians. So thank God for that.
I'm getting
Not
verklempt.
Obama either.
I'm getting verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you atomic. The Renaissance was neither a ren nor a sant. Discuss. Okay.
Yeah. Now we should
All
play
right.
the Peter Jackson song. It seems so fitting. In memory of Willie, aka Keiko.
Keiko, yeah.
Or whatever is actually written there too, because we can't remember. Oh, okay. Anyway. Any other good? I said there was another good one.
Yeah, there's a good one here. J30 asks, Andre, will there be any more videos about Conan? I've really enjoyed them. You know what? So have I. So yes, there will be. The next one, unless there is some major news about Conan being picked up or something, is going to be the Conan the Barbarian retrospective of the 1982 movie. I'm in the process of early stages of writing that right now. I hope to have it ready in time for Marvel starting to release the new Conan comics. I may not be able to make that, but I hope to make that. By the way, Tom, I'm going to need your help on it. I'm going to need some dubbing help, and I'm going to need some animation. Just like spoiler to everyone, it's going to be a cool one.
Have you seen my animation?
I have, and I've heard your Conan impression or your Schwarzenegger impression, and it's gonna be freaking perfect. So
I'm gonna have to watch that movie again. I've not seen it since I was like probably 3 years old.
You've heard his Skeletor impression too, right?
Yeah, I have.
Nice.
So yeah, there will be Conan movies.
I watched
Conan
the Christmas
videos.
Yeah. Again the other day.
Yeah.
Sorry, Andre.
Okay. All right.
Yes, looking forward to more Conan videos. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. We got any more questions?
What does Andre think of the Conan cartoon series? Never seen it. No,
I didn't even know there was one.
Oh, there is one. I've never seen a single episode of it. I only seen clips, but I haven't seen enough that I can comment on it.
I would think it'd be too. Yeah. Anyway, okay. I did not know they did one. It's not more adult? Is it kid oriented or is it?
Oh, it's kid oriented.
Wow. So it's He-Man.
Um,
No, I'm just kidding.
Funny you should mention that, but no, it's not. It's
Close.
I haven't seen it, but I guess it's Thunder.
Oh, Thundar. Okay, I've seen that.
Yeah. The
Yeah, I
Demon's
remember
Reflection.
Thunder, yeah.
Any news on the next Trek log, Tom?
Oh boy. Well, as we've said, first I have to watch them. We have 2 more left, and I've put off watching them as much as possible, unfortunately. And I full disclosure and apologize for that. But yeah. Other than that, holding it back is more so scheduling. Doomcock's not as easy to get a hold of recently due to dealing with a bunch of stuff and scheduling everybody and Ren as well to finish that off and get those done. Plus the animation, it does take time. And when, we have several videos going on at once, as you can understand from hearing us talk about them here, some things get put on the back burner, and sometimes that's, well, obviously one of them that has been. But no, hopefully we will have the last 2 episodes done and that the next episode up before the second season premieres is the hope and plan at this point. Fingers crossed, but I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll try.
All right.
Because it's getting close already.
Yeah. All right. I think we can call it a night there.
All right.
Andre.
In your location?
Evening or whatever. Early evening.
We haven't made a formal announcement yet, though, about who our big interview is. We did, Andre, unless you wanted to keep that.
Yeah, no, we'll keep mum on that
Okay.
until we get the approval to go live with it. So let's not. We have this expression in Norway: never sell the skin of the bear until you actually shoot it. So let's not do that.
I like that.
But we still have to.
We still have to
get in the truck yet. I guess
we still have to get the approval to go live with it, and that we don't have yet.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah. All right, guys. Okay, Andre. Always thank you gracing us for always nice when the boss shows up, but then when he does, we always have to look busy because
But I think you said you were planning on showing up a little more often, and
yeah, I do plan on showing up more often going forward.
Yeah, and we might even do some stuff on the main channel as well. I think was the plan.
Yeah,
that's the plan. Announcements will come with more details about it.
So anyway, okay. Well, if you want Andre to show up even more, that's a good segue. Click subscribe, click the bell icon. That way you're notified of all the latest content that's uploaded. Head over to the main channel, click subscribe, click the bell icon over there. Head on over to our Patreon. Patreon supporters will get all kinds of bonus goodies. Isn't that right, Andre?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. Making of, behind the edge videos. You can see the story of how Midnight's Edge came to be. This is where you chime in and agree.
That's going to continue. I feel really bad about that. I haven't been able to do an update for ages. Updates are coming, and several of them.
Yes, updates are coming. Bonus episodes, lost episodes, outtakes, bloopers, and uncut audio, and more. You can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. Patreon supporters will get first crack at mini documentaries and other videos. The Trek log actually went up first, didn't it, Tom?
Yes, and the animation and the early audio version. Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. And as I always say, and if you can't support the channel through Patreon, click subscribe, click the bell icon, share with all your friends and your enemies and your loved ones and your acquaintances, because we cannot do this without you. And don't forget to check out our friends. Don't forget to check out Captain Robert April. We're trying to get him over 1,000 subscribers to get him remonetized. Mecha Random 42. Check out her channel. Check out Overlord DVD. Check out Victor Van Doomcock. He has great stuff there. Check out Gary Beekler over at Nerdrotic. Check out Professor Geek. Check out all our friends. There's somebody else I'm forgetting, Tom. Isn't there somebody else?
There always is, but that's all right. We'll remember next time.
Check out, I have my own channel too, Robot Shlomo. I'm the only Robot Shlomo.
You never plug your own channel. Of course, you
Yes.
never do any videos, like you said earlier.
Well, I've been doing stuff over here. I'm gonna have to do. We're gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to put together a review of something or a video for something. So anyway, like I said, Andre, thank you for joining us once again.
Yes, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Super chats as well.
Yeah, you're the boss. Well, like we'd say no.
No, but it's more like thank you for having the time to join us. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Egotastic Fun Time. He has a great channel too. Yeah, we're gonna have we'd like to have him on at some point. And the red shirts, we got to have the red shirts on too, Tom.
Yeah, we've had fun talking to those guys on their stuff.
Yeah, I've hugely enjoyed the Red Shirt podcasts. They've been great.
Yes. So go over, check out them, click subscribe over there. They're great guys. And thank you everybody for joining us one more time. I'm Rob Robot Shlomo.
I am Tom.
And I'm Andre, saying good day, good evening, good night to you all.